What is going on? Don't Unfriend Me Nation. Matthew Spear and Leroy in the house. Good to see everybody.
In the house. How's it going, guys?
It's going pretty good. I'm sure they're doing well too. Yeah, we've got some things to talk about. I want to make sure that we are available for everyone listening to the show. First of all, you're listening to Still Point, and the show is sponsored by Wimkin. You go over to Wimkin. We have 9 million users. It is a free speech network, very similar to Twitter and Facebook, YouTube. It's kind of all built into one. It's done by Jason Shepard. He's the CEO. You may know that he supplied everybody with PDF versions of the very hard to read and decipher Epstein files, and you can get that on his website. But you can also go to wimkin.com, sign up, follow the Don't Unfriend Me show. We stream there live every night at 7 p.m. Eastern. Leroy and I are going to go over the usual news and the current events. Please do us a favor. Hit the like button if you have not had a chance. We would appreciate it. You can also go to The Dumb Show on TikTok at tiktok.com/thedumbshow.com. You can also go to Facebook and go to my personal page at facebook.com at The Dumb Show Matt. And we are also over now on Threads at The Dumb Show. And you can find us on Twitch. We're streaming there tonight at The Dumb Show as well. We now are streaming to 9 platforms, and we hope you appreciate it. 10 if you look at our podcast. So we're growing, and we sure appreciate your help. The count on Facebook is 254,458. You just remember, we just hit 250 last week. We're ready to hit 255. Shows that Facebook is growing, and they're allowing us to go ahead and have our voice again. Thank God. We'll be back in 3 minutes. Can't wait to talk to Leroy. Got a whole bunch to do. Make sure to like, pound it, share it. What's going on, everybody? Matthew Spear from the Don't Unfriend Me show. I am proud to announce that the Documents of Freedom are back in stock. It's a 3-book collection, leather-bound, by Arcadia Publishing. Starts out with the Bill of Rights, and it's the complete edition of the rights, so you can look up and reference anything your heart desires. Declaration of Independence, with revisions and founder images included, beautifully illustrated. And last but not least, what would Documents of Freedom be without the Constitution of the United States of America in its entirety? The box is handmade by PFC Flags, custom engraving, all 100% made in the USA from the nails to the glue. And we have a 5-star rating, satisfaction guaranteed, 150 sold, 5 stars or better. It is so important, especially in today's society, to ensure that the younger generation has these books available in the future. Get them for your family and friends, available right now. Head on over to thedumbshow.com/books. Thanks so much.
When you get a sec, check out my buddy Matthew Spear over there at the Dumb Show. Dumbshow.com. get to see people like yours truly right here. Maybe that's a reason for you to not check it out. But check it out anyway. There's a lot of people better than me on there that a lot better stories. But check them out, dumbshow.com. Matt, take care, buddy. God bless you, everyone.
Adjusting transmitter output.
This is the Don't Unfriend Me Show with your hosts, Matt, Leroy, Amy, and Olivia. Geopolitics, military analysis, and election coverage. Coming to you live on all major social media channels at The Dumb Show. Honest, direct, unfiltered. We can agree, we can disagree. Just don't unfriend me.
Welcome, everybody. Thank you for watching the Don't Unfriend Me show. Live weeknight, 7 p.m. Eastern. Should be a good show tonight. We got a lot to cover. Remember, Documents of Freedom. You just got to see the ad, but it's right here. It's available. You're looking at availability for this sucker. It is going to ship. Let's see. When's it going to ship? I think we're going to get them in by the 15th is the rumor. And we should have them all shipped out by the 21st. They will absolutely sell fast. We wound up selling a couple last night. Once I, kind of explained it to people, put the sense of urgency. So we have 150 5-star ratings on the product, and a lot of people didn't rate them because simply they didn't receive a rating form. But we've sold 225 of those things. I went and looked it up. So they are an amazing, amazing, amazing collection. If you have a chance, please go over and take a look. And see what you can see. Go to the web page at thedumbshow.com/books. Gold tonight's 300. Olivia will do that. Call-in phone number is live, 276-200-2105. The only thing we ask is please don't call in during a video or if there is a rant going on. So an epic rant.
That's fair.
It's just out of respect. When I get going or Leroy get going, you should let us cook. And other than that, I want to open it up to the liberals that are listening. And I know you're listening. And a lot of you have opinions on Jeffrey Epstein and Donald Trump, and it's time to vent them. You should come on and vent/vet. Let's have a conversation. I want to hear all of the ooey gooey kablooey. I want to hear all of your worst. And I promise you this. You will not win. I will destroy you on the Epstein case. I know more than you. I'm smarter than you. I'm better looking than you. I'm fitter than you. And I'm just better at this than you are. So I challenge you. If you're in that listening world and you're just tuning in and you're like, oh, I hate Trump because of Epstein, come around and get smacked around. I promise you, you will not leave with your ass intact. And I wish there were more people like me. I wish there were more people who are influencers. Oh, no. Hold on. We might be losing it.
Losing
internet.
Uh-oh.
It's okay. We'll be right. It'll restore. But we just had a pop. So my TV lost. Well, one of the 4 lost internet connection. The other one didn't. So I'm hoping it's a Bluetooth issue. I'm watching. We look okay. Checking diagnostics as we speak, Captain. Yeah.
Scotty, what's going on with our warp drive?
I need more warp speed, Captain. Just do it. Giving her she's all she's got. Can't do anymore. Oh, we got it back. Almost got Leroy in a chair. Get a microphone cover, and Leroy needs to. Listen, this is all on Leroy. This has nothing to do with me anymore. He'll admit it. He's got a he's got a camera, he's got a mic, he's got a soundboard, he's got lights, everything he needs to make a good, wholesome podcast. And he is just taking his sweet ass time.
I am a bag of shit. I get it. I'm dragging ass. Yeah.
No, he's not. He's not. All right, so let's get into this. We've and the option for any liberal to come on is what at any of the topics that we want to talk about tonight. You're more than welcome to come on and challenge our thought process. We'll be respectful. We'll be kind. But all you got to do is call in. I mean, the hard part's over. I've given you a platform. I've given you the topic. I've given you the airtime. I mean, you've got everything you need. You've got the potato. You've got the blue cheese salad. You've got the capers. You've got the A1. You've got the knife and the fork. And you got the salt and the pepper and a little bit of Lowry's on the side with some garlic butter. The only thing you need is a steak. All you got to do is bring the steak. It's not hard. Right, Leroy?
Hell no. You know, I frequent the internet. I think I know what it is, right? I don't go onto TikTok or anything like that because I'm not a 19-year-old girl, but I've seen enough of the comments out there, folks. I've seen them on Twitter. I've seen them on X or whatever the hell you want to call it, or Facebook. And the leftoids are out there and they're seeing this. So if there was ever a platform where you wanted to come on, right, challenge a couple of intellects, you know, apparently it's easy for everyone to embarrass us. Well, let's go.
Sure. Yeah.
I'm all for it. Call in and yep.
That's the thing I love the most is, you know, we're the party. You know, you guys used to be the party of education. It used to be the party of free speech. You used to be the party of civil rights. You used to be the party of the ACLU. You used to be the party of family values too. Remember, there was not many things that kept us separated. The lines of delineation between Republicans and Democrats.
It used to be pretty thin, yeah.
It used to be very thin, about 5 big key principles, and it never stopped us from working together in most cases. Without Republicans, civil rights never would have passed. In fact, the Democrats wound up blocking it in the 13 southern states. So, you know, we can sit here and play this game, but you are no longer those things. You guys used to be very, very open to illegal immigration. But just, 12 years ago, you guys wanted walls. You guys wanted verified ID in I-9. You wanted E-Verify in all states. Now you don't. So just when you come in, just go easy on us because we know you're educated. We know you're superior. We know how intellectually refined you are, and you intimidate us. That's why we have to have guns. We carry our guns because you scare us. So your mind is very, very scary. So we have to arm ourselves with.
Are you crazy, man? That thing could go off at any moment.
It has a personality of its own. It will randomly shoot people, and I try to get it to stop. It just takes people by its own merit. I've tried to stop it, Leroy, but it doesn't listen to me. Anyway, call in 276-200-2105. We won't be this facetious when you call. We promise you. If you don't know what that word means, look it up. Today was a good day. Hey, I got a question for you, Leroy.
Yeah.
Is it that all religion should be essentially removed and separated from government? Or does separation of church and state mean that the government is not allowed to impose a religious doctrine on the people of this country? So is it that all religion has to be separated out of government, or is it truly that the government cannot choose the religion for the people?
I don't believe it's the former, and I do believe it's the latter. Mm-hmm. So the idea of that there was a time where politicians and heads of state would all go to church together in DC, and it was very common. It was not unheard of. Now, right, the current interpretation is, oh my God, you can't even, if you're a member of the government, you can't even say the word God. But that's not true. That's not true.
Well, the founding fathers, American principles and Western civilization was founded in Christianity. I mean,
exactly.
Everyone, and I hate to say it, it was founded by white men who happened to be Christian. And conversely, were educated at different variant degrees. Some were literally farmers. And self-taught and extremely intelligent based on that. So the demographic of what the country used to look like from a party principle standpoint is very reflective of what it is today. And even an education level, surprisingly enough, was very similar to what it is today. The big issue is economic diversity and probably racial disparity is the biggest 2 factors in today's politics that was different back then. Back then it was white people, and it was all white people. And economics, most people who were in politics were fairly wealthy. And to this day, they are wealthy due to nefarious means, where they were wealthy back then simply because they did the work and then got elected. But we aren't so far off, because over our entire history, there's been dissension, party politics. There has been a large divide. Hell, we fought a civil war, for God's sakes. So when people say that there's no path to recovery, there is. It simply is one party needs to relent. One party needs to understand that what they're doing is not only a detriment to the country, but a detriment to their future in politics. I think there is no closer party than the Democrat Party to come to this realization at some point, where they have to say, we may never win again unless we completely alter the way we are right now. And the Republicans had to do it twice in the last 100 years. They've had to re-envision who they are, and they had to change who they were. 1940s were perilous for the Republicans. It was just horrendous. They couldn't win anything. Then you have to go ahead and look at before Reagan was an abysmal failure, and Reagan literally turned it around. Now, you can't simply say that Donald Trump, he did re-envision the party, but it was actually not a shift from conservative policies. It was a shift into conservative policies. That's my point. They didn't literally have to change their entire structure of their party.
When you first got on and we started talking about, having the leftoids call in, I was thinking about that, and you had mentioned specifically the evolution of the parties. And it seems like both parties have evolved quite a bit. Yeah. But the right has evolved much slower and more right-leaning, I think. Or it was leaning kind of center for a long time, and now it's like those values have kind of maybe pivoted just a little bit back to the right, but not huge moves, not big swings. Whereas the left has gone from center, and even at times center right, to now they are off the deep end, which is why a lot of people like Reagan and like a lot of politicians have basically stated that their party has left them.
Right. And some Democrats feel the same way. I mean, we take that not just with Reagan, but let's look at Kennedy. And I find it interesting that the most popular Republican president in U.S. history, outside of Ronald Reagan, which would be Donald J. Trump, and it depends on when you want to poll Reagan's numbers. Reagan's numbers at the end of his second term were not as good as his first. That's what happens when you get shot. But you take a look at Donald Trump's numbers, and they weren't better ever than when he got the attempted assassination. Those numbers skyrocketed for him. So assassination attempts or assassination success tends to make a president very popular. Kennedy was really kind of a nothing president and wouldn't have went down as history as even breaking the top 20 in any way, shape, or form. His assassination propelled him into one of the most liked presidents simply because he was taken away. My point is that there is such a push against Donald Trump, but his popularity amongst Republicans is absolutely stellar. It's the best it's ever been. And these Republican candidates who continue to play grab ass, this is going to hurt. Now, the reason I ask about religion is because Tim Kaine, the Mexican white guy from Virginia, Timo Kaine speaks Spanish every chance he gets because he has to let everyone know that he took a language in high school. Tim had some things to say about religion and said that the Constitution itself essentially forbids any religion, and that's
not true.
And that, well, hold on a second. And that we're gonna watch this, and then you're gonna tell us all about it. And the rights of the citizen are not endowed by the Creator; they're endowed by the government. So I've put him and several people on blast, and I thought you would want to get a kick out of this. Here's the video. It's only a couple minutes, but you get full runtime, buddy. This is yours. I made this for you. I saw
that.
I saw this. I'm like, oh, Leroy is not going to be happy about this. Here it is. Oh yeah, this is the Schiff one. Oh, this one's funny. This is a little break. You know what? We'll play that. We'll play that later. Where's it at? Sorry about that. I make videos. They've been blowing up, by the way, which is just such good news. It's really cool. All right, here we go. Enjoy this.
The notion that rights don't come from laws and don't come from the government, but come from the Creator. That's what the Iranian government believes. It's a theocratic regime that bases its rule on Shia law and targets Sunnis, Baha'is, Jews, Christians, and other religious minorities. And they do it because they believe that they understand what natural rights are from their creator. So the statement that our rights do not come from our laws or our governments is extremely troubling.
Tim Kaine, as always, is wrong, and I'm truly ashamed that he's my senator. Iran is not a regime based on faith. They're a tyrannical government that believe usurping power from the people is their right. They use religion, like the Nazis and other tyrannical governments, to justify their actions. It's not the same thing. Their despotism and their attacks against minorities doesn't disprove that our rights come from God. The founders understood and they believed that the government was not responsible for providing rights. They were responsible to protect our rights, and that these rights were naturally and God-given. They were inherent in all man, not just Americans. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness is for everyone. It doesn't matter your race, color, creed, or sexual disposition, or your beliefs, theological or none. It doesn't matter. Everyone is afforded these natural and God-given rights. And anyone who tells you that the government is responsible to endow you with these rights are the ones who ultimately want to limit and take them away from you. The greatest thing about the three most important documents outside the Bible for all Americans, the Declaration, the Constitution, and the Bill of Rights, is that they are endowed with an inalienable right that is provided by God. And no amount of pontificating and pandering from Tim Kaine will stop that. The founding fathers were great men who believed in the American people, but also understood that governments were corrupt and that people ran the government, and they were corruptible as well. My only comment before I kick it over to Leroy is it's not that the founding fathers were declaring the legitimacy of God or religion. It's not necessarily what they were doing, even though about 87% of the founding fathers, no, more than that. More than that. Like 3% did not have a declared faith. Most of them were God-fearing men. What they were saying is that God is omnipotent, God is untouchable, and you can remove rights from the government. You can take them away if it's a person or an establishment, but you cannot touch God. So what they're saying is that they are protected upon high. That was the point of this. And people are declaring that what they're saying is that God came down and touched the Declaration of Independence, touched the Bill of Rights, touched the Articles of Confederation prior to it. And that is absolutely the dumbest thing I've heard. Leroy, go get them. Enjoy.
Here's the thing, right? And I did find it interesting that Tim Kaine used the word creator.
Right.
Because
right.
I find that really interesting, given that in the Declaration of Independence, that's the crux of the argument, is that we hold these truths to be self-evident. And a lot of people think that they know and understand that. But do they? Because people like Tim Kaine would certainly quote you, maybe even the first half of that correctly, but then wait until those second and third sentences built within that framework, right? And I'm going to read it to you. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. I was looking at what you were doing. Thank you, Bobby Richardson, 51.99. Thank you very much.
Wishing Bubba, Aaron, an early happy 9th birthday. Love you all. Thank you. Happy birthday. Go ahead.
That all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Now, this is where it gets interesting, because it goes on that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. That whenever any form of government becomes destructive of those ends, it is the right of the people to alter and or abolish it, and to institute a new government. So what Tim Kaine is basically saying is that, look, if we want to be like Iran and really understand that, your rights come from a creator, that's built into our fabric as a country. And if you disagree with that, then I think those second and third sentences kind of fall on you, right? That would be the people's right, because we're the consent of the governed, right? We're giving you that consent to understand that. And if you don't understand it, we don't necessarily need you as a representative for the United States people.
Nor is it required at all. Your faith is not imperative to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. It's not required. That's the beauty of it. In Iran, you either believe or you are an infidel. There's a very big difference between us and them. And to sit here and say that we force Christianity or behead people or stone them to death or throw acid on their face, I want to support Leroy here. As he was reading the Declaration, I was reading the Constitution. And I want you to understand is that these documents are synonymous. You cannot understand the Constitution of the United States without understanding the Declaration as equal. And also the Bill of Rights. Yep, they're very, very, I said it in the statement, these are more as important to this mortal coil. When you want to get into spirituality in your soul, well, obviously the Bible is the most important. But when you want to talk about your time on terra firma, these three books are absolutely essential so you can practice those religious liberties that we covet so much. Listen to the Constitution of the United States. Listen if you can hear the biblical references in the opening statement of the Constitution. I can do it by heart. I'm just going to read it. We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union. First reference. Establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of life, of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution of the United States of America. Three references, and you can even go ahead and say tranquility. It's because the human soul cannot truly be tranquil, cannot truly be content without the surrendering to God. And we talked about this in the Philippians from my sermon last Sunday that references that. But this is important because the words being used in the Declaration of Independence to a tyrannical king who is supposed to be a descendant of Charlemagne was treasonous. Not only to the king, but to God, according to English law. And they were very purposeful with their words. The entire Declaration, Constitution, Bill of Rights, and even the articles that precluded it were baptized in Christianity. And every fundamental value inside of there was Christian in nature. And you can read the Federalist Papers. You can read every note that was scribbled upon a parchment by candlelight from our founding fathers talks about religion and the essential nature of it, even if they did not believe. Even the people who did not have a faith said that religion was paramount to a structured society, a civilized society. This is a person who's representing you, who's representing me, who knows nothing about the largest constituency in this country, Christians. Christians. And he has no earthly idea in any way, shape, or form that the government is not responsible for distributing the rights to the people. They are only there to protect it. That is what the Constitution says. National defense is mentioned specifically. There is nothing about our spirituality.
Yeah.
There is nothing about our diversity. There is nothing about our car insurance. You are guaranteed life and liberty as long as you do not break the rules of this land, and happiness is guaranteed to no one, but the pursuit of it is absolutely guaranteed. Leroy, wrap this up.
It's hard. It's hard to read the Federalist Papers and find a legitimate place for leftism in America. And when I say leftism, by today's standards, we would view that through the optic of seeing Democrats, but they haven't always been that far left. So I say leftism to make that distinction. Maybe at some point that can come back to center, but not right now.
So, comment by Brian Scott, the Bill of Rights is the first 10 amendments of the 27 amendments that construct the Constitution. Yes. But those specifically are for the individual rights. And if any of those rights are beset upon any type of inequity, you follow the 10th Amendment, which applies back to the states' rights.
Exactly.
So, very different than the 27 amendments. And they were separated and put to the side. One is for ease of consumption, but because they needed to stand alone in our republic. The Bill of Rights had to stand alone because it was about individual rights, not the collective good, not the collective whole. Collectivism is not what this republic is about. It's not. That's what democracy is. Democracy is mob rule. Republic is individual rule, and then all boats rise at high tide because of your individual liberties protected. It's very important to understand why the Bill of Rights is separate from the Constitution, although it is a part of the Constitution. I hope that helps when people question and go, well, wait a second, why would you create a Bill of Rights when it's already in the Constitution of the United States? Because the rules of the governed are not the Constitution. That is rules for the governors. The governed has no limit on their freedom. That isn't defined into the Bill of Rights.
Correct.
So that's why you have to have it separate.
The Bill of Rights is about limiting what the government can do, not the people.
That's right. And the Constitution is limitations and set a very specific set of parameters that the government must abide by.
Correct.
And that is why the bill of it is so genius, because the Bill of Rights can't be taken away from you. They can throw you in jail. They can cut your tongue out. But those rights are still inherently yours, and they will never be surrendered, and they cannot be taken away by anyone. Now, if you break the law, your freedom, your liberty is going to be taken away from you. But the difference between consequence and intimidation are two different things. You are allowed to break the law. You are allowed to scream fire in a theater. You're allowed to shoot people. But there will be consequences if you do it. So nobody's going to try to stop you from enacting crime. But once you do, there will be repercussions, including people trying to engage with you to stop you from doing it, arresting you, and possibly serving a fine or a sentence. Joanne Townsend, $10. Feels like home. Good to have you here. Love you, as always. But Iran is different. Iran is saying that we are the government and we provide you your freedoms, and we can take them away at any time if you decide to go ahead and go up against the Shah or the clerics or the Ayatollah. And when you do, not only will we steal your rights here on earth, but we will condemn you to hell for your betrayal. There is a very big difference between us and Iran. And the fact that Tim Kaine compares Christianity to Muslim extremists, if he would have said that in 1990, 1980, even 2001, I think the Master at Arms would have arrested him. And they should. Or at least removed him from the floor, sequestered him, or censored him. Maybe not arrested. That's a bit much, because he does have. We're going to talk about that protection in a second that Thomas Massie is hiding behind. But he probably would have been removed from the floor or been censured. Why Tim Kaine? There is not a vote right now to censure him. Baffles me.
Yeah, it is weird.
Every single politician should absolutely censure him, because that's not an opinion. What you're making is declarative statement that that's the law. You're a lawmaker. You're a senator. You represent your state, and you just told every Virginian in this state that their religion, that their belief in God is usurped by the government. It baffles me. It just baffles me why this guy is even allowed to continue. But I guess you can go ahead and do freedom of speech and say that he has a right to say whatever he wants. But Leroy, is that not in direct violation of your job as a U.S. Senator to defend and protect the Constitution of the United States?
Really feel like it is. Like,
can you imagine if you said that in the
that's
military?
not even up for question, right?
Yeah.
Like, if you were in the military, like, everyone has to put up their hand and say the oath, right? That they will support and defend the Constitution and defend it from all enemies, foreign and domestic, right? But if you sit there and say, oh, no, that person shouldn't be able to say those things, or that person over there should be able to, one of my soldiers should absolutely be able to stay in that house without any consent given for free, or, you know, that person over there, well, they shouldn't have the ability to defend themselves. That's crazy to me.
Can you imagine a general saying that, standing up and speaking to a battalion and saying, God no longer grants you your liberty, God no longer grants you your freedom?
Right.
That I do. How quickly do you think that command would be surrendered?
Like, really
like
quickly.
At least a psych eval, right? That this guy's got a God complex, and do you really want someone commanding hundreds, if not thousands, of troops in battle who has a God complex? I mean, kind of.
It really does baffle the mind. Like, why he would even say that? Why he would even bring up the idea that, well, your freedoms, your liberties come from the government, not from your creator, which is in direct conflict to the founding documents of this country.
That's what
tells
they
me that he is a completely inept politician who knows nothing about the people that he is supposedly representing.
Well, they're denying the Enlightenment.
Correct.
They're denying, and this is where, when you look at Nietzsche and you look at Darwin, and you look at the Vatican going after Da Vinci and Michelangelo and others, this ongoing struggle between the church and science. And the moment that they started to deny the Enlightenment and the replacement theory about secularism and removing religion from the history and the future of civilization, they had to replace it with something. And that's where Darwin came in with evolution. And you got to read T.S. Dixon's book. I got to get it to you. I'll send you the digital version and have you log in and use it and read it. But it's so fantastic because it talks about all this. And it talks about how the root of globalists and ultimately the powers that be that want to control everything, religion, if it cannot be manipulated and it cannot be altered to their will, have to destroy it and remove it, because faith is a dangerous thing. Faith gives people hope. And when you allow them to say that your freedoms are endowed by the Creator, they will stand in opposition to any tyranny, because ultimately their faith will bring them to a better place no matter the result. If you take my body, I'm Obi-Wan. You strike me down, I'll become more powerful than ever. And when you remove that and you take away and replace it with something else, in order to control the masses, that's what you need. And they've done that. They've controlled it through the schools. They've controlled it through the education, music, TV, movies, which comes down to this leftist ideology, the Saul Alinsky, the Maoist principles, that the answer is the government. From a economic standpoint, from a liberty standpoint, and from a spiritual standpoint, the government is the answer. And that's what they believe. And it's true totalitarianism. That is the definition of totalitarianism. All aspects of your life are controlled by the government. This is what they want.
There's a biblical verse, and I'm trying to recall how the hell it goes. Crap. It'll come to me, and it'll come to me at an inopportune time.
Give me the
we've
high
moved
level.
on to a different subject.
Give me a high level.
Basically, it's For our struggle is not against flesh and blood. It is against our rulers. It is against basically the government is the easiest interpretation of it. That you're not struggling against your neighbor or your fellow man. You're struggling against the people of who would seek to rule over you.
Ephesians 6:12. For we wrestle.
That might be right.
For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. That sound about right?
Boom. Yep, that's it.
I put on, since I started going to church, I've only been once, but we had Def Leppard, which is kind of church. And then we're going Sunday, is I put a Bible software search type thing to.
I love that.
Part of the show kind of helps up. Good. That was fun. Yeah. Eleni says, Eleni has been a fantastic addition on Twitch. Says, put on the full armor of God. Yeah. Armor up. 100%. Now, listen, my faith is not as strong as it needs to be, but there's nothing that's going to get me there faster than someone telling me that I can't display or participate in whatever religion I choose to or don't. And Tim Kaine saying this is thrusting me into the bosom of the Lord. I'll tell you what, because you're not going to sit here and tell me what, just like when you say, I'm going to take your guns. Well, you better wake up awfully early, bring a ladder and a lunch, because you're going to be hungry when you wake up. So, folks, do me a favor. Let's get this out there. It's a good show tonight. We've got quite a few people on, but religion is one of those things where people are kind of like, I think it's a good conversation. It's very, very important to cross the lines between rule and spiritual enlightenment and faith. Right, exactly. Very, very important to cross those lines and discuss them, especially in today's age when you have the government that be is trying to remove faith at all costs. I mean, if you don't believe me, simply look at where religion was at between 2016 and 2022, an all-time low. Christianity was failing. They were on mark to get 51% of the population, almost 50% of the population would be Christians. The numbers were staggeringly low. Mm-hmm. And they were saying Christianity would no longer be the predominant religion in the United States by 2030. That's how bad it was. Well, we sold more Bibles last year than ever before. Christianity is on the rise. People who are saying that they, bless you, God bless you. People are finding secularism to be a part of their depression or their lack of success in life or their lack of fulfillment, is that people, and especially the young generation, are looking for answers, and they're not finding it in the places that they tell them to, which is climate change and lopping off your penis or taking chemically castrating drugs, that there is something else out there, and people are turning to God. I'm a prime example of this. So it's something to think about. Anyway, great conversation. I appreciate it. You ought to get yourself a new job, Donald Trump says to the press. A reporter from Poland decided to jump in and pretty much say that Donald Trump was taking no action against Putin in the Russian-Ukraine war, and Donald Trump just let him have it. Oh, and Tim Kaine, since you are my senator and I am one of your constituents, I would certainly appreciate it that if you hear this and decide to go ahead and argue with me, or you want to come in here and clarify your point, I'm more than acquiesce to that request. Just be prepared to ask questions, not only about this, but maybe your pharmaceutical donations or donations from Planned Parenthood.
Oh, snap.
Or others that I have questions about. Maybe some of your investments we can talk about. Or how you play out of both sides of your mouth. We would appreciate. So you're more than welcome to come onto the show. Just understand this isn't CNN, brother. Here is Donald Trump talking to a Polish reporter. And this is what was said. I'll work on the volume here and make sure we can all hear it. By the way, folks, we are at $61.99 to our goal. I have faith that we will hit it. $300 is our focus. We've hit it every night since our remodel. We would appreciate it if we could continue that effort and get it out of here so Leroy and I don't have to talk about it. Here is the video.
You've expressed many times your frustration and disappointment with Putin, but there's no action since you took your office. Don't you worry that...
How do you know there's no action?
But don't you worry... What actions did you take? I'm with Polish radio.
Okay. How do you know there's no action? Would you say that putting secondary sanctions on India, the largest purchaser outside of China, they're almost equal. Would you say there was no action? That cost hundreds of billions of dollars to Russia. You call that no action? And I haven't done phase 2 yet or phase 3. But when you say there's no action, I think you ought to get yourself a new job. Because if you remember, 2 weeks ago I said, if India buys, India's got big problems. And that's what happened. So.
All right. So is there anyone who has been tougher on Russia in the last 30 years outside of Donald Trump? Let's have the conversation.
No,
Well,
not that I can.
Let's check them off. You ready?
Sure.
Bill Clinton.
I'm trying to recall what the situation was. I don't think there was anything.
Yeah, he decreased the size of the Navy 30%.
He shut down a bunch of bases.
Shut down our bases, removed Kevlar. He surrendered deep water to Russia. So something that we had dominated. And, Russia was prolific at deep water penetration, but he surrendered that. Now we've gained it back since then. And really, there's no other deep water navy outside of the United States that's even a pimple on our asses. China is a coastal navy. And although they do make port of call, they're not a deep water navy. They don't have the capability. They don't have the infrastructure. They don't have the energy. They don't have the vessels. You know this. So deep water capability.
90% of their fleet, 90% of their fleet is confined to within 1,000 miles of their own coastline.
That's right.
That's not a blue water navy.
No, it's not a deep water or blue water navy. It's certainly not a blue water. Well, deep water in my sense of ballistic nuclear proliferation.
Yeah.
SSBN. So deep water, and then blue water is a whole nother discussion. Yeah. They are predominantly coastal bound or have a limited range based upon refueling, resupply, and everything else, where you've got our supercarriers, which are independent because of nuclear power. But yeah, you're right. So blue water or deep water, the United States truly is the leader in all facets. Now, Russia, no, not with their no,
they're
not anymore.
even more inept than China is. Now.
Yeah, now they are. Yeah, they sure are. Yeah, they are just, Russia is so inadequate in the world conversation. China really is the third strongest standing army in the world, and still the United States is so far light years ahead of them. Surprisingly enough, the one area where China is exceeding, and it's not surprising because even Russia was, not anymore, but is their vehicle armaments like tanks and APCs. But that doesn't do you well when you can't move them onto land. So if we're going to get a land war in China, that could be a problem. You're not going to be able to get. See, that's why China isn't a threat.
No.
Everyone thinks China's a threat, and Leroy and I have tried to tell you guys they will only be a threat if we do in World War II what we did to Japan. If we cut off China's energy, then you might see some serious retaliation against the United States, and it still will be a coastal war. They're not going to march over 1 billion people to invade the United States. Okay, relax.
Yeah.
And anyway, their military is 2 million strong, and a lot of that is overinflated numbers. But Russia, if you take a look at Crimea, let's just do Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton surrendered a lot of deep and blue water to Russia, which we gained back. Bush wasn't particularly hard on Russia and spent a lot to rebuild our military. Obviously, when you're fighting two different conflicts. Obama did the soft reset with Hillary Clinton and empowered Russia. Biden did absolutely nothing against Russia and allowed Ukraine to take place. And Donald Trump put sanctions, seized banks, rearmed surrounding territories and countries, assisted with the Nord Stream 2 hit. And we know that that's probably Biden who did that, but elevated those sanctions even more when they stopped oil and created impedance for the amount of oil that was being sold in Europe when he went to Merkel and went to Macron and said, you buy Russian oil, you've got a problem with the United States. So he's done all of those things and has deliberately created Space Force to work on hypersonic missiles detection and interception, and also to have a counter to those missile systems. Underwater drone technology from an offensive, defensive, and counterintelligence standpoint. So, I mean, the guy really has also rearmed and refitted our nuclear armaments in silos and also in naval vessels, and with the ability for aerial bombardment and drops, has reconstituted our nuclear arsenal. So please explain to me how Donald Trump isn't literally the worst thing to Putin, and he's still trying to make peace. I mean, what am I missing here, dude?
I don't think you're missing anything. I think a lot of people just they get sidetracked or they get brainwashed by the media, who basically, wants everyone to believe that in some way, shape, or form, that Trump is working for Putin or vice versa, or that, they feed off of each other. And, like, come up with something better, right? Like, start putting a little bit of thought into this. I was listening to somebody the other day who was making the same argument. And again, not to go back to China, but just for a second. And I thought to myself, that is the weakest argument. The Chinese economic system is 100% dependent on the idea of freedom of navigation of the seas, because without it, they don't import any of their food and like 80% of their energy. 80% of their energy is imported. That gets there by boat. So they are utterly dependent upon freedom of the seas. And the only country that can guarantee the freedom of the seas is the United States. Basically, the buildup that China is what we see today is because we've allowed it. Because they have no friendly neighbors within the first island chain. And so this person was making this argument.
This is a very good point.
This person was making this argument that somehow, right, that Trump was weak because we've allowed China to do certain things. And I'm like, yeah, we have allowed it, but that doesn't mean it's a weak president. This has gone back 40, 50 years, right? Back when Nixon first went over there to try and build them up, to try and get them to turn capitalist, only it didn't work. They only married certain cities to the idea of capitalism, and the rest of the country is still very, very communist.
A lot of people consider China to be the biggest threat to the United States, maybe from an economic perspective, but not from a military standpoint. I don't consider. Can you please name a country that China has invaded?
Successfully? None.
And just invaded. Tibet doesn't count.
Right. Think about their neighbors. I mean, they have.
I know. I am. They've gotten their ass kicked by Japan more times than I can count.
Right.
Japan kicked the living shit out of China multiple times. India pushed back against China. England annexed territory of China. So the India, England, and Pakistani influence inside China was so big at one time that the English Parliament would influence Chinese rule through India.
Yeah.
So, people sit here and go, well, North Korea is the lapdog of China. I don't think China wants any part of North Korea. They certainly didn't want any part of Vietnam. So when people think China is this imperialistic country, it's not. China wants the world stage. They want the economic power. This is why they invested trillions into U.S. debt. They have a vested interest for the United States to continue and to be profitable. I don't think China's endgame is to invade and to take over a country. I believe that they want to become the primary influence in the world and to replace the United States from being the economic bird dog for the world. That's what I believe. And they are much more dangerous in their currency manipulation and their IP theft. Because if you look at the Chinese military and you look at their fighters, you look at their helos, you look at their tanks, they copy everything we do. And I 100%. Mean everything. They've got Blackhawks, they've got wannabe 22s and 35s, their vessels, their stealth UVs.
The drones.
Stealth
drones, yeah.
Yeah, stealth drones are 100% just copies of ours. Even their underwater drones, copy. Everything. The only thing that doesn't is their ICBMs and their big bombs is because those are completely curtailed off Russia. But everything else, if it's got wheels or it's got a turbine or it's got a propeller, it's American. I mean, they look just like UH-64s flying. Whenever they're in formation, you're like, those are Chinese?
Well, it's their best knockoff of an American product because a lot of times they lack the technology to pull it off correctly, but they do their best. And we should actually feel somewhat flattered about that, right? That they've copied so much of our stuff because it is the best.
Eleni says, and you always want to point to Vietnam as a country that whipped America. Vietnam didn't beat America. Our politicians did.
Absolutely.
United States just faced a more formidable foe in Korea, and they were outnumbered 30-1, and we kicked the living shit out of Korea. North Korea was decimated by the United States. And if the United States didn't get involved, the peninsula would be one country, and it would be North Korean still to this day. The United States went into that war, and we went in half-cocked. And we put in 1,000 troops. And then they literally pushed them back from the northern parallel. Then North Korea pushed back and pushed us back down into the tiny peninsula of the southern peninsula of South Korea. And then we had to bring in 30,000 troops. Then we bumped it to 75, then 150. And then we just dominated the entire country. If the United States government was full throat and full tilt and went to Vietnam and was able to cross the DMZ and was able to truly engage the Viet Cong effectively, the North Vietnamese would have been crippled in a half the time it took us to do Korea. The Vietnamese didn't beat us. They beat the French. They certainly did. They beat China. We beat ourselves. That's the truth.
That is true.
Wow.
It's a little bit like that Sam Back to School with Sam Kinison, right?
Yeah.
Spot on.
Yeah. So it's just we need to understand that the United States hasn't been in a war since World War II. We've had conflicts, and the rules of engagement have been different for the United States. We have not had a full committal to any conflict, even Vietnam. We could have bombarded the North Vietnamese. We could have bombarded them with naval vessels. We could have bombarded them with aerial. We could have just carpet bombed B-52s, and anytime a Viet Cong took a step, they would blow the fuck up. There were many ways for them to go ahead and do damage, and also having the opportunity to do tactical nukes on a fairly secluded and border protected by ocean. Tactical strikes on the North Vietnamese, which would have decimated them. And honestly, what would the world say? The French wouldn't say shit. The Indians wouldn't say shit. China wouldn't say shit. The Koreans wouldn't have said shit. Russia wouldn't have said anything. They're like, it's Vietnam. Everyone's got their ass kicked by Vietnam. So when we sit here and say that the United States doesn't have the capability, there's nobody on the planet who can beat the United States. Period.
No.
It's just... Everyone's like, what about nukes? It's mutual assured destruction. Nobody wins.
Correct. And that's like the only front where where the rest of the world has reached parity, basically, with the United States. And in some ways, maybe even exceeded.
Yeah.
But when you're talking strictly conventional, a strictly conventional exchange, it's not even close.
No.
I heard the Navy War College actually posit that it was conceivable that the U.S. Navy could take on the rest of the world's navies combined and
Yes.
still end the conflict within
Yes.
6 to 8 hours.
Yes. 100%, absolutely 100% true. And that's what people don't understand. And you can't do anything without the Navy. If you don't have logistics, you're toast. That's it. It's over. You're done. This is why when people said Iran was the #1 threat from a nuclear standpoint, but also the delivery payload of these nukes, that's the problem. If you think Russia's ICBM is capable of consistently delivering a payload to the United States, I would challenge your understanding of how old their systems are. If you look at China, sure, China can nuke us. That's fine. But does China have enough nukes to destroy the United States over us destroying key spots inside China? That would be absolutely a quicker retaliatory strike. The moment that they launch their birds, they're going to get lit up like a fucking Christmas tree. And our birds are 20 minutes out of hitting Beijing. They go ahead and try to go ahead and hit nukes. They don't have subs that can go ahead and get through our SONAS nets. The moment China starts putting subs off the east and the west coast, that's when we go sub hunting. And we've learned how to do that very effectively because the Russians taught us plenty on how to do it. And their technology isn't even remotely close to scratching the surface of where Russia was in the 80s and the 90s. Our technology has gotten so good that we let China build a military that could pretty much take any country in the world.
And
that's
we
how
don't care.
and we don't care. That is how good and strong our military is. We have allowed them to become the 3rd biggest military in the world, and we don't care.
And people have mistaken that maneuver or that allowance as they have in some way, shape, or form surpassed us, when that is not the case.
Right.
And a lot of channels will do this, right? They will talk up other militaries and denigrate ours, and that's fine. But the really good stuff that the U.S. Builds and operates, usually it's 10 years after the fact, 10 to 20 years after it's been built and already been being used for some time. That's when they introduce it to the public. Like most of the really sexy stuff we don't know about.
Sorry, the puppy chewed one of Ethan's old shoes. Hold on. Come here, please. Liv. Sorry, I've got to rule. Was the shoe out? No, just answer my questions, please. Was the shoe out? Where was the shoe? Come here.
Uh-oh.
Sit down.
Oh, it's an Oakley.
When? Where? Where was it? You left it out. Are these your old ones? So you left this out. What have I told you? If it's on the floor and you leave it out, it's whose? This is her shoe. She does not get in trouble for this. You do. Mom, you're okay. She doesn't get in trouble for this. Tell her no, but he left it out. Let me see it. Let me see it. Oh, you're ashamed. Look at me. This is, hey. No. Hey, Ash, look at me. Ash.
I'm sorry.
Look at me. Look at me. Look at me. Look at me. This is a no. She won't even look at me, dude. She's Ash.
She does the same thing to me, man. Just like, I'll get the looking eyes if it's something that she wants, if I got a stick of cheese or something like that. But if she knows that if she even thinks that I'm about to like scold her for something, she's
pouting.
Down. Eyes down. Don't look.
She's pouting right now, dude. She knows. Daddy's set the tone. She knows that's it. You know what? That's why my dog's so awesome, because she knows. Just one look, and she stuck her head down like, oh, I'm ashamed. She's sitting over here hiding. I wish I could show you.
What did I do?
Well, she came and hid behind me because she knew she was going to get in trouble. And then when Dad found out, she's like, "Oh no, this dog and I have a relationship that I can't even explain." It's hilarious. Anyway, folks, 61.99 is where we are at. I'm going to share a quick photo of Ash, and then we're going to move into another segment here. But if you can see her, oh, she wouldn't even look at me. She knew, dude. She was just like, "Oh no, Raggy." Here's the video or the picture real quick. it screams of guilt. She faced away from me and is pointed somewhere else. Anyway, she's a good dog. All right, so let's go.
Patricia Good donated $26.25. Thank you so much, Patricia. That is awesome.
Yeah. All right, so here is a video of this guy. I don't remember his name.
Revolution. I raise my right.
He is a veteran against Trump. He's got an Iraq and Afghanistan hat. I believe he was Navy, but he was like a clerk, dude. And this guy, a lot of people are screaming stolen valor on this guy. His name's like Ginger something. I know some of the viewers know who he is, but he's been around. He's the one that's been doing, you know, he started off with doing 5 or 6 veterans at the, we're doing a protest against Trump, and then it went up to 20, and he's bragging, and his name, somebody knows who he is. So if you guys could tell me who his name is, he's a Ginger Patriot or something, but I think he's rocking an Afghanistan, Iraq campaign hat, but the guy pretends like he's a grunt. But according to his rate, I think he was non-combat and was support. And if that's true and he was a clerk, I don't know many clerk positions that have any combat training experience like you and I went through.
Well, they could always throw typewriters.
That's true. A very, very, very emphatic typing could be a weapon. You could hurt your hearing. Let's watch this Yahoo. And of course, Don Lemon Don Lemon's interviewing him, which is just hilarious. There it is.
These are veterans that did this. Why? Why are you vets? You guys are, patriots, flags. Well, I raise my right hand to take an oath. I raise my right hand to defend the Constitution. And when I watch the Constitution being burned, now I got to raise hell. The president says he's going to send troops armed to Chicago and Baltimore. He says, I don't know when, but we're going to send them in. We're going to have veterans on the ground when they get there. We're going to have veterans nationwide. Wherever Donald Trump deploys the National Guard, we're going to have veterans on the ground resisting it, protesting it. There comes a time where talking is not enough. The time for action is now. The time for talking is come and gone. Listen, if they're not going to follow the rules, neither are we. And revolutions don't follow rules.
Whoa.
These are veterans that did this. Why?
Wow. Is he advocating for violence?
Well, here's the thing. His name is the Jolly Good Ginger. Oh, God. He's a prominent figure involved in stolen valor. His real name is Russell Ellis. The Jolly Good Ginger was accused of claiming combat veteran status without having a combat action ribbon. His critique, Joseph Redden, known as the older millennial, publicly posted his DD-214 to challenge that claim. Well, you don't have to have a combat action ribbon necessarily to demonstrate that you were in combat. That's not always true. In response, Ellis defended himself by showing his deployment record and medals, asserting that the VA standards qualify him as a combat veteran, even without the combat action ribbon. So it sounds like his records did not show this, but he wore it. Now that is stolen valor. The qualifications for combat are very specific, and you could have been in a combat zone and possibly engaged with an enemy combatant, but that doesn't mean you're going to get the combat action ribbon. Let's look at his branch. And then we can talk about this Yahoo a little bit, because he keeps popping up in my feed. He served in the U.S. He was in the United States Marine Corps.
Okay.
Publicly identified himself as a Marine vet, and he was a grunt. He was not a pogue. He obviously is a Marine. But that's the controversy, is that his service record does not reflect that he's a combat Marine. He's also rocking an Iraq and Afghanistan hat. I have some questions, right?
Yeah, I would too.
But your thoughts on this guy? I mean, openly calling for what? Insurrection, calling for revolution, calling for fighting the government. This is the guy. This is what the left have, the jolly green ginger.
Well, I mean, the questions that I would pose to him are not dissimilar from what I would pose to any other leftist, which is, are you trying to inflate the size of the government? Do you believe in an authoritarian government? And if so, then how do you feel about Donald Trump trying to reduce the size of the government? Do you feel conflicted about that? Ultimately, if you ask enough logical questions, people like that they get emotional and then they start spewing names at you. And this guy just seems like right out of the gate, he's very emotional. He just has a lot of hate in his heart, and you can tell. He thinks that he's right, which is fine, I guess. But you really have to, if you're going to discuss right and wrong, you really have to understand the subject matter a little bit more, I guess. And I think a lot of people just kind of lack that in politics these days.
Folks, if you have not had a chance, please share on Twitter. A little bit of a slower night. Leroy and I usually are bombing in a good way, but we're bombing in a bad way right now. So we're under 100, which has never happened. So if you could help on Twitter, please share. Just go out there and hit it up. And if you're on Twitch and you're on YouTube and Facebook, please give us a share and a like. We got to get this thing going a little bit. I don't consider what he did stolen valor. Once again, if you deployed to a combat zone and you took fire, you may not receive a combat action ribbon. It's just absolutely the truth. But you did see combat and qualified to claim combat in the VA. Can you get into a VFW?
Yeah.
So that's a perfect example. Lawrence Wilson's calling in. We'll see what Lawrence has to say. Hold on a second. Hey, Lawrence, what's going on, dude?
Hello. How are you doing?
Doing good, man. What do you want to talk about?
All right. I got a thing. First of all, I want to say thank you for your service. Most definitely.
Sure.
Seriously.
Thank you.
And secondly, I just want to make sure. I want to get this out of the way that I'm not some America hating. Am I allowed to swear on this show?
You can.
Have at it.
Okay. I just want to make sure. I want to make sure. I want to get the rules out of the way. Okay. So you know what? I mean, you guys aren't really doing much. How are you guys doing today?
We're fine, Lawrence. We're just doing peachy. We've been waiting for your phone call, and it's so good to have you, man. So
really,
what do you want to talk about?
Why do you have your phone number up? You seem like annoyed that I called.
What are you talking about? We're not annoyed at all.
No.
What did you?
Okay, word.
We want to know what you want to talk about.
Yeah.
All right. Fair enough. Okay. I assume. Am I talking to Matt right now?
Yeah.
Both of us. Matt and Leroy.
Okay. Well, yeah. What are you guys' names again? I'm sorry. I just want to make sure.
That's Leroy. I'm Matt.
All right, beautiful. Nice to meet you guys. Okay, you made a video the other day called, quote unquote, Matt and Liv roast the Democrats and why they lost.
Okay.
And I watched this video, and I was very intrigued in this video because I agree. They lose a lot for being, apparently as strong as they are. I was listening to your list that you made. I would like some clarification on a couple of these topics, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Yeah? All right. So, okay, you gave reasons, and I will say in a very condescending tone, but I guess that's okay. It's politics. We're allowed to get a little wacky. But
well, hold on a second. Hold on a second. So,
yeah.
So you felt that condescending is exclusive to me, or do you think being Lawrence, hold on a second. Do you think people who are being condescending is a reaction to what others do? Do you think it's okay to so it's okay to be condescending if people are condescending to you? Is that fair?
I suppose. I'm not saying you did anything wrong being condescending. I just think that maybe you jumped the gun a little bit because you gave this list very matter-of-factly, and I'm kind of curious at some of these.
Hello.
Did he drop?
I don't. Yeah, I didn't hang up on him though. I'm interested to hear what I mean, I want him to kind of get to the point, but yeah, let me try to call him back. Let's try to call him back. See, I don't know why he dropped. It happens. Oh, there he is. Hey, Lawrence.
No.
You were not hung up
Come on,
on. No, you were not hung up on. Relax. There's no reason for that. But it did disconnect, Lawrence. Let's assume positive. Let's assume positive intent. Okay. I mean, it's the digital technology age, and sometimes mistakes happen. But I did not hang up on you. Go ahead, man. You had some questions.
All right, fair enough. So well, I'm not saying that your condescending tone is necessarily unwarranted, but my question is that some of these answers that you gave make no sense, and I'm sorry about that.
Okay, so
and I would love you to make them make sense to me.
All right, give an
example. That you said, yes, I have the list. I have it in front of me because I thought it was very interesting, and I saw you were live, and I thought I would ask you what you had to say about it. You said effeminate males. You said that as a reason why a political election would have been lost. Can you explain that quickly to me?
Sure. When you persecute,
explain to me what an effeminate male is to you.
You want me to answer? You want me to answer the question? Yep.
Yeah, sure.
Cool. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that. So if you and Leroy, jump in anytime you want.
Yep.
If you believe that masculinity is toxic, if you believe that men, particularly white men or any man, is toxic due to who they are because of the things that they choose to do, whether it's the way they wear their jeans or what trucks they drive or the T-shirt that they represent, or if they have an American flag, or if they support Trump, is somehow detrimental to society, where you need to denigrate those people in order to propagate yourself as some sort of bastion of freedom to femininity. And I think that is a stupid reason to do it. And second, I think it has an adverse effect on especially white males and other males to vote for you.
Okay.
And I think when you push transgender ideology, when you say that women who men protect, and we have that patriarchal type gene where we believe that protecting women and defending women and opening doors and walking on the outside of traffic and those type of things, when you say that women who fought for their right to vote, fought for their right to be heard, fought for their right to be paid in a moderate and equal way based upon their skill set, when you say that those women are no longer valuable, that those women are no longer able to identify. Wait a second. Well, I'm going to tell you, are no longer able to identify as an exclusive class based upon sex and gender, and say that a man can just encroach upon this by putting on a dress and lipstick. I think it not only is a direct relation to effeminating males, but it's also degrading to women completely. So there's my answer. Leroy, do you have one?
No.
Okay, cool. Lawrence, did you want to go ahead and ask a follow-up or have another question?
Yeah, I have one thing for you about that, and fair enough. That's a solid answer. I understand why a lot of people feel this way. I can't blame you at all for feeling that way. But you said that you don't like that. I'm assuming you're referring to liberals, or at the very least Democrats. People that are...
No. I'm particularly bringing it to leftists, but unfortunately, leftists has invaded the Liberal Democrat Party.
Correct.
And what is known, and therefore has to be taken seriously, just like there are very serious anti-Semitic tropes that are being laden inside the conservative and Republican movement, which I disdain equally.
Fair enough. All right, word. Well, I guess you said, so you said that people think that masculinity is toxic.
Why do I feel a trap coming on, Lawrence? Why do I feel a trap coming on?
There's no trap. I seriously am confused. I'm not confused in like a mean, derogatory way.
Okay.
I like reading and watching things from the other side, and I like getting more clarification, like straight from the source.
Okay, great.
What I mean?
All right, so go ahead and ask your follow-up or whatever. If you had something else, please.
You said that you don't like how people think that all masculinity is toxic, that they judge people based on the way that they wear their jeans, what trucks they drive, and if they support Trump.
Here comes the buffalo.
But I have to ask you, when you look at a man wearing skinny jeans with painted nails, do you not feel a similar level of disdain?
I don't look at a man's nails, or his jeans to establish his worth.
well, no one's establishing worth based on it. They're establishing a baseline connection to their morals.
Well, when you say that
can be
somebody
easily identified.
is a Nazi, a xenophobic, a homophobic, a transphobic, and blowing orange man Cheeto is a gun thumping, uneducated. These type of things have been labeled as us, and the monikers that have been placed upon us. Now we're being called pedophiles because we voted for Trump. So it's easy for you to say that, but I don't carry myself that way. And these values have been put on us, and these intrinsic values that come with these epitaphs and these monikers that are insulting, they're saying that I share in them. And when I see someone with painted nails and skinny jeans, I don't look at that person and judge them in that way. I'm just not built that way, because I have worked with every race, color, creed, sexual disposition, and economic highs and lows in some of the poorest and richest areas in the United States. And I don't look at people that way. I really don't.
No, that's great to hear. No, like, seriously, I really appreciate you saying that. What about, so I don't understand transgenders. I'm not going to pretend like I do. I don't need to, because they don't really invade on my daily life ever, actually. And if they do one day, maybe I'll have more of an opinion on it. But a lot of people got opinions on them. And you said that a man that dresses up in a dress and puts on lipstick is an affront to women in general. But you never met that person. You never talked to that person. So
right. That's why I didn't say.
Based on,
right. That's a great point.
Their look.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. So my point was to actually opposite of what you said. I said that those things don't qualify them to be any more of a woman than skinny jeans and painted nails makes me either a fan of The Cure or American Eagle jeans. It simply means that those things do not qualify you as being a woman in any way, shape, or form. And people are espousing that it does. They're espousing that men can get pregnant when they cannot.
Right.
That's okay.
No one's espousing.
Yes, that absolutely is 100% true. Transgender men can get pregnant, and they do use that when they're a woman. Okay, these semantic games. Why would it? Well, let me go ahead and answer the question, because when
can I have another question?
Sure, you have another question, but I will answer it if you want me to.
I would like you to answer the new one, because I feel like it's a little more interesting.
Why did you ask the first one then? Why didn't you lead with the most interesting one? That would have been funner. Go ahead. I'll kick off to another question. Go ahead.
I'm not trying to be judgmental or confrontational.
I don't think you are. I'm not either. I'm just matter of fact, brother.
Fair enough.
Only
right,
because,
I can get down with that. Okay.
Only because I want to get.
Go ahead, Leroy.
Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
All right, fantastic. Okay, so I guess my biggest thing about either of you can answer this. I don't understand why it's such an issue. I don't need a long response from this. It boggles my mind, and this isn't even like a leftist thing. It just boggles my mind.
Are you a dad? Are you a dad?
No, I'm not a father.
Why would you take offense? You asked me questions. I'm asking you a question. Are you a father?
No, I'm not. I'm just curious how that's.
So let me tell you why. Let me tell you why these things bother me. I happen to be a part of Loudoun County School District. I'm going to do it as fast as I can. We also have a symbiotic relationship with Fairfax and Alexandria school districts, where transgenders are able to go into a female bathroom.
Transgenders are students.
Yes.
By design, or do they have to get special permission?
By design.
You're saying that anyone can just walk into the girls' bathroom?
Anyone who identifies as a female who is a male, yes.
So if I just say that I'm a female one day, Matt, I could go into that female ladies' room? Is that correct?
That's Fairfax schools and Alexandria schools, and that's how both rapes took place, where transgender male went into the bathroom, raped one of the gentleman's daughters, then was transferred to another school. It was covered up, and that transgender female went ahead and raped another student. And this is what happened during the not Loudoun County, but Alexandria or Fairfax public school panel, and you got to see where this guy said, "Listen, this is what happened to my daughter," and then proceeded. The cops dragged him out and beat the shit out of him. It's not just that; it's also the books that are in libraries that are of pornographic nature, showing fellatio of a gardener filleting a 12-year-old boy, showing sexual positions. Which, listen, I understand the education of sex is very, very important to kids. you can
Yes.
thwart teenage pregnancy and sexually transmitted diseases. I'm all for it, but certainly not for an 8-year-old and 9-year-old. Gender affirming care is an affront to parents' rights. We have a right to understand the curriculum our kids are learning. We have a right to understand what the sexual development of our children are. If they identify as transgender, gay, or a leprechaun, I want to know. Just like if they were to do drugs or ditch school. So I'm actively involved in it, not because I have a problem with transgenders. I have a problem with the culture being brought to people who are under 18 years of age under parental supervision and guidance. And I think it's an affront to parenting. So that's my issue with it.
And I actually agree with pretty much everything you just said. Like, seriously, I'm with you on most of that. My question, I guess the thing that I have to say is that when you say things, when you make blanket statements like transgenders in general, it kind of dilutes that point, no?
No.
Because then you're just taking an entire part of the population, relegating them to the box of the rape one.
What's the
and
number
then
one?
deciding
That's a good question.
That
this is a really good. No, this is very astute, Lawrence. I hope your sincerity, because I want you to call in more. Here's my question to you.
I would love to. You seem like really nice guys.
All right, so here's my question.
Most calling shows would have hung up by now.
No, I don't do that. Here's my call. Here's a question I have for you, just real quick, and then Leroy's going to ask because Leroy wants to get in.
Sure.
Who is responsible for inner city youth homicides in 47 out of the top 75 most violent cities? Which demographic of person?
I'm assuming you're going to have me say African American.
I'm not going to have you say anything. I want you to tell me what the factual statement.
I don't know the facts.
If you were to take an educated guess, which race?
Okay, by in raw numbers or like per capita?
Raw numbers.
Raw numbers. It's whitey.
No.
Whitey, 100%.
No, it's not. No, not
You're
even.
Telling me that.
No, yes, I am. Even in raw numbers. So
what cities are we talking about?
The top 47 of the top 75 most violent cities in America. You can go. You can go to Baltimore. You can go to Baltimore. Which is
are they populated mostly by African Americans or by white people?
Yeah, and that's a whole nother conversation. I'm asking you to answer the question. You know the answer. I don't think you want to answer it.
No, it is African American.
This isn't a trap. Okay, so it's African American. Okay, so why are you painting all African Americans with the brush that they're homicidal? Okay, well either am I with transgenders.
Why would you assume that?
Why would you assume that I'm painting all transgenders? Because I never made that declarative statement. You did. I'm giving you an example to show you that you're not talking about all black people, and I know you're not. And I'm not talking about all transgenders either.
I understand that, but you did it unprompted. I answered a question. You make money off of this, and I feel like you say a lot of things. You say a lot of things in these videos that I'm
still waiting for you to disprove any of my points. You said you agreed with everything
I've said. A lot of your points. What I do disagree with is
then tell me the ones. Tell me the ones you disagree with, so we can get to the point of how I'm making money off of mistruth. Tell me what I was wrong about.
I don't think it's mistruth. I think it's just a deeply flawed way of political conversation that I see every single day. I think that it's sensationalized. Listen to me, dude. Listen, seriously. I want your opinion on this.
How's this conversation? Lawrence, how's this conversation?
This conversation is fantastic.
Imagine if the video is literally just a keystone or a stepping stone into having a conversation such as this, because that's the only reason I do it. I don't do it for money. I do it to stimulate conversation that doesn't take place, and I commend you on doing it. Leroy has something to say, and then Lawrence, I'm going to let you say it. Go ahead, Leroy.
Lawrence, this show was designed for people like you. We would like to have more conversations with more people where it doesn't become inflamed, where we can just sit down, talk about facts, and whether or not you have a trust in the government or not. Now, if I can ask something, Lawrence, and you can just tell me if I'm out of bounds here, but who did you vote for, and what was your primary issue for doing so?
All right. Let me think of like an actual logical way of saying this. I don't want to just start rambling. I don't want to waste your voice.
That's okay. Take your time. There's no rush. There's no pressure. Show's yours.
So I'll be honest with you. I'm 21 years of age. I have not seen the world yet. And I hear a lot of people say that the older you get, the more conservative you get, and I can't disprove that yet. I have no idea what's going to happen to me. All I'm saying is, I'm just saying that I don't want you. If you want to consider me some like uninformed kid, that's fine.
No, I don't.
I'm not going to blame you for that necessarily. You know what I'm saying? I just want to make.
I don't. You're
right.
very articulate.
Actually,
and go ahead, Leroy.
Lawrence, the purpose for my question was to determine whether or not you're a single issue voter, or you look at, or are you somebody that looks at politics holistically to go down that whole gambit, to look at defense, economy, weapons, drugs, that kind of thing. That's why I asked that question, Lawrence.
Fair enough, and I would love to. I'll get into it a little bit then. The 2024 presidential election was the first president election that I was able to vote in. I was able to vote back in 22 for midterms, and I went split ticket. I didn't really see a point to be
Where
only
are you from?
Republican, only Democrat.
What state are you in? Do you mind if I ask?
Michigan.
Oh, God, dude. Okay. You went down ticket in Michigan? Oh, that's a shame. You're a swing.
What?
You're a swing.
Wait,
It's a classic canard. It's a swing state. So like, I like if I was there, I would look at every single candidate and based upon the values that I held, because it's such an important.
I said that it was a split ticket.
I know.
I voted both ways on multiple issues.
Okay. Did you base it off of just like there's 4 here, there's 4 here, and split it, or actually on the issues?
On the issues, I looked
Good for
into
you.
it. So we had a
Good for you.
governor election. I do regret that one. I'm not a big fan of Whitmer no more. I was 18. I mean, I literally just turned 18. I was like, here's the thing. I was staunchly Republican conservative growing up until, and this is what I'm getting at, because I did vote Kamala in 2024. I'm not gonna lie to you boys.
Okay. I think it's pretty obvious. We picked up on it.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, yeah, fair enough, boys. I will be honest with you. I absolutely despise the way that Trump handled the 2020 election fallout. I cannot fathom it. It bothers me. I'll tell you, I'm a senior in college. I'm going to be a history teacher, eventually be a professor.
Nice.
And so I've been
Good on
big in history, boy, big fan of that. Social studies, that's my thing, right? This is kind of all I do. It's my only real hobby.
You're in good company then, because we kind of
Brutal,
have an
man.
affinity
We
for
dabble.
the same. We dabble.
So and I guess I want to say that the turning point for me in my adolescence to be like, yeah, okay, maybe these liberals aren't insane like I always thought they were, because I was raised to think that they're completely unarguable, detestable people. They're just trying to ruin America. They're trying, you know what I mean? I was raised on that style of conservatism, which, obviously always leads to rationale and level-headed thinking in children. So it's 2020. I'm 15 years old. Trump loses. Very surprised about that. Whole family, I was genuinely saddened by that fact that night. I was hanging out with my friends, and they were mostly liberal, and I was like genuinely upset. I was like, holy shit, America's gonna get ruined. And for that, like the period, the lame duck period of Trump's presidency, I saw the pardons, first of all, the mass pardons, even though a lot of Republicans were criticizing Obama for his mass pardons at the end of his thing and at the end of his last term. I saw that kind of as a hypocritical, and I saw it as just another. Once again, history can be debated, but there's no opinions in history when it comes down to it. And historically, that's just another political technique. So what I was taught was that Obama used it as some, blah, 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 blah. Same thing with appointing the judge right before the
Lawrence,
end of the term.
can I ask? I'm sorry. Can I ask a qualifying question?
Yeah, sure, man.
So 124 pardons and 94 commuted sentences bothered you in 2017 to 2021 for Donald Trump, who had the least amount of pardons of any president in 45 years?
Huh? Wait, I missed that last part. Sorry.
Would you like me to say it again?
No, it's just cut out. So, I mean,
sure.
yeah, I suppose, yeah.
Sure. So commuted sentences, 94, 147 pardons, Donald Trump from 2017 to 21, the lowest amount of pardons from any president in 45 years.
Yeah.
That bothered you?
No, I can't. Yeah, I'm not going to say that it was some like egregious thing that I was like, oh my God, I can't believe he's done this. No, I completely believe.
Okay.
I just thought that it was odd.
Well, because
I found it odd.
Because president's pardon. Did you see how many African Americans he pardoned for marijuana crimes?
I did, and I'm down with that.
Okay, so it's interesting because if you look at Joe Biden and who he commuted, over 8,700 pardons at the end of his term. I find it a little bit rich that.
Yeah, I was getting to
but
that.
Lawrence, let me finish this. If it changed your party in 2021, then why didn't you change back in 2025?
That was the first thing. All I'm saying. That was like when I first started. I saw some of them and I was just like, I thought that he wasn't. I thought the pardons weren't really our thing. I thought that we were, justice and justice is served no matter if we think right or wrong, we follow the Constitution.
Yeah, but you would agree that there's inequity in the justice system sometimes that needs to be corrected. I mean, I think you would agree with that.
Yes, most definitely. My point is that was the first thing I was like, because I was real deep in the red pill rabbit hole, boys. I'll be real with you, like to a comical extent, looking back at it, more so than you guys probably even are. And then Ruth Bader Ginsburg died, and this is where I'm really getting into it. I'll try not to ramble as much. Sorry, boys.
You're not rambling. I just want it. I have questions. Just don't understand. We might interrupt sometimes, but go ahead. Ruth Bader Ginsburg, RBG. Go ahead.
She died, and then obviously I wasn't the hugest fan of her. I didn't wish that upon her, but at first I was like, yeah, a Republican judge on the bench would be fine. Like I didn't see anything necessarily wrong with the fact that Trump wanted to move it forward for Tony Barrett. And then I started thinking about it. And that was kind of the moment in late 2020 where I was like, all right, maybe they're all kind of the same. And it did kind of bother me immensely, actually, if I'm being honest, how quick he wanted to get a Supreme Court nomination, especially the way that the Republicans vilified Obama for it. And I'm not the hugest fan of Obama either.
Wait a second. Whoa. Okay, now hold on.
You're skipping over. There's a lot.
There's a lot you did not even touch on. You're a historian. You're going to be a professor, Lawrence, and you just skipped over about 45 years of obstruction of Democratic policy, including Salazar on the federal court that Joe Biden wouldn't go ahead and pass because he was Mexican. Clarence Thomas with pubic hairs in the coat from Anita Hill, which became literally the staple of how Democrats obstructed justices, presidents, and gubernatorial or mayoral candidates from now until the dawn of time. This was retribution, understand. The Republicans said, enough. We're done with this crap. Hold on. Harry Reid installed the filibuster again to particularly block federal and state level state attorney appointments. So only thing that the Republicans did was give the Democrats their own medicine. And what did they say? If you do this, we're going to go global thermonuclear. We're going to play the nuclear option on you. We're going to burn you down. And that's exactly what Mitch McConnell didn't want, but he had to stand up and do it because literally it's been done to him for 25 years in the Republican Party. And Chuck Schumer said he was going to go nuclear, and he tried to on Coney Barrett, and he tried to on Kavanaugh. They said she was a handmaiden wife. They challenged her religion. They said Kavanaugh was sexually assaulting women. Oh, come on. You know this.
Whoa.
Come on.
That's a whole different story. There's more evidence to Brett Kavanaugh being a predator than there is to me.
No, there's not.
And so then
there's not. Three of the accusers were actually, excuse me, we're not done. Three of the accusers, if you're going to make statements on here like this, I'm going to hit you on it. I'm sorry. Three of the accusers were found to actually have been paid off by the DNC. Are you familiar with the lawyer that represented them and the person who's representing the victims of Epstein right now? Look up Gloria.
Being paid off?
Look up Gloria Allred and look up her daughter and the millions of dollars she was offering to go ahead and have people make up sexual assault claims against Donald Trump. The same people did it to Kavanaugh. Blasey Ford didn't know when it happened. She didn't know how it happened. She didn't know what time it happened and couldn't describe what happened. She never accused Kavanaugh of rape. She never got into specifics. She said she felt uncomfortable and she was taken out of there by her friends, but she couldn't tell us where was. She couldn't tell us when was, and she couldn't tell us who was there other than she thinks it was Kavanaugh. That is not in any way, shape, or form evidence of sexual assault. This guy was passed by Democrats in 1998. He was passed by Democrats in 2006, including Obama in 2008. And then all of a sudden, they didn't want him out there because they were going to lose the Supreme Court majority, and they knew what that meant. It meant generational change. So they tried to block it any way they could by doing Democratic games. That's what happened, brother.
Fair enough. Yeah, I'm not actually saying that he's a rapist. He wasn't.
Lawrence,
convicted,
no,
and there
Lawrence,
was
I
a
got a
lot of
question, bro.
evidence against him.
And I want you to answer this as succinctly as humanly possible.
I will do my very best, brother.
Do you trust the federal government to run your life?
To run my life? No. To run the rules that I have to abide by? Yes. The government? A government? Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't trust.
So
I wouldn't trust them to put food on my table, obviously, but I would
Sure.
trust them to create stop signs. If you get what I'm saying.
Sure. So when you understand, so when you have read up, because you said you're going to be a professor at some point, right? So when you cover topics like the Gold Confiscation Act, Executive Order 6102, or the Japanese internment camps, shortly after during World War II, Executive Order 9066, or the Office of Censorship under EO number 8985,
The Ministry of
Steel,
Truth.
right, or the Steel Seizure Act of 1952 under Executive Order 10340.
And I want to say one thing. Leroy and I are not using Google right now.
No.
He is taking notes. So we don't do this. I want everyone to understand it's not fair, and we're not those type of hosts. We're not doing that crap.
No.
Everything I just told you was from memory.
I'm just giving you a couple of examples so that when you eventually do take on a teaching role, right, and you can point to these issues in American history where there was clear government overreach, right, and think back to how you answered. You do trust the government, but we have issues with what? These portions of it. So, and I say that to say this because it's important. Either you trust that certain politicians are not going to stomp on your liberties, or that you know that if you let go of some of your liberties, that they will absolutely bend you over the barrel.
Right?
Lawrence, go ahead. We've talked a lot in the last couple of minutes, and it's not fair. You go ahead. We got a little excited there, so go ahead.
Oh no, it's all good. I appreciate hearing what you had to say. Thank you for that. That was actually very well put. Okay, when you say trust the government, though, that's a blanket statement. You got to admit that what you can get anyone on anything. If I said yes and there's reasons, I said no. I mean, what? I say no, I don't trust the government.
Did the founding fathers trust the government?
If the founding fathers were here alive today, they'd hate this. They would want to go back as quickly as possible. I stand
the Federalists wouldn't. The anti-Federalists would, but not the Federalists. The Federalists would love this. The Federalists would be shouting for joy.
No, I don't think the Federalists would like this.
I disagree with you. I disagree with you wholeheartedly.
I think that they're okay. So, do you think that we have too much federal control?
Yes.
Is that what you're saying?
Yes, I do. Yes,
1,000%.
1 million.
Do you think that there is a actual solution to this that involves constantly arguing?
Yes, decentralize
Constantly
Washington D.C. and remove all government entities from Washington D.C. first, and have the states be responsible.
You want to just kill the feds?
Yes.
Not kill. No.
I got you.
Not
We don't
literally.
We don't get banned for that
shrink
shit.
the size of the federal government.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
I want to decentralize the federal government. Yes, I do. And I want to have state control. I want the reserve power of the states to be the law of the land, and the federal government assist in what they're supposed to do, which is to secure our borders and protect the citizenry of this country. Full stop.
1,000%. Yes.
Full stop. That's what I want. I want them to get out of...
Does that extend to the executive branch, or do you consider that to be a bit of an exception?
I want the executive branch to be designed what it was designed to do, to have absolutely no power without the actual prerogative of the people and the elected representatives of this government. The president has too much power, and that is including Donald Trump.
Okay, wow. That is very well said. My goodness, I did not expect that out of you. No offense. Not in a mean way, but I didn't expect.
We're conservatives, dude. We don't like big government.
No.
That's what confuses me so much why people voted for Trump for a second time. Because this guy, we knew that he was going to get wacky. I don't know.
Sure.
Everyone that keeps saying I regret my vote. I regret he's taking too much power. It's no, we knew this was going to happen.
Well, but
Lawrence,
yeah.
Contrast that.
Let's be honest.
With who?
Sure.
Hold on. Contrast that with who he was running against, Kamala, because every ad that she was running, right, talked about inequity or equity. Like, she loved those terms, and people automatically associated that correctly, right, with far left-leaning doctrine. And when Kamala was talking about inequity, she either didn't know what she was talking about, which was inexcusable, or She did know which she was talking about, which is just borderline evil.
When I say Donald Trump has too much power, understand this, that is not something that's indicative of his administration or his presidency. It is.
Would you have called for?
Hold on a second. Hold on.
Sorry,
it's a necessary evil to undo the blatant overreach that took place from Joe Biden.
Yes.
When you look at Donald, hold on. If you look at Donald Trump's executive orders, 90% of them are undoing what Joe Biden did that proved to work. This is, I want you just to, here's three things: the economy, energy, and the border. Donald Trump, on his first day in office, literally undid Joe Biden's executive orders and secured the border in 36 hours.
What does secure the border mean to you? I hear that a lot.
Well, when you go from 5,000 gotaways a day to 126 in 36 hours and have gone precipitatively down into a point where they reported a zero number for the first time in border history since they've been checking it from the Border Patrol, and then the Department of Homeland Security, which is established after 9/11, took over those numbers, then yes, that's a win. Now let's go ahead.
Under Article 4, Section 4 of the Constitution, what that means is that Donald Trump was doing his job.
That's right.
Unlike the predecessor.
And we can go into energy. We can go into energy prices. We can look at inflation. We can look. So the point is this, is that Donald Trump
really want to get into all of that.
We don't have to. What I'm trying to say is Donald Trump has to use a considerable amount of power to undo the ungarnished and unrelenting overreach of Joe Biden's presidency and in 2016, Obama's presidency, which crippled medium to small businesses, over-regulated based upon green new energy, limited energy production in the South and the Midwest, and literally crippled America's growth. Because if you look at Obama, I'll give him credit. He stabilized the economy from Bush, which was a shit economy. Absolute shit. But it was just status quo. For 8 years, it was just no growth, nice and flat year over year, and that is not what America needs to keep up. If you look at Donald Trump, it's a hockey stick from 2016 up until COVID, and it's a hockey stick now.
Okay. Do you think, and I'm not even necessarily going to argue with those things because I don't know, I don't feel like it's important.
I wouldn't.
What I do have to say, and the thing that bothers me the most about this current Trump administration, I'm not even going to go back to the whole thing. The thing that really irks me the most, and the reason why I cannot say that I support, I'm not going to say I don't support him at all. Shit, all I want is a better America myself.
Okay.
That's all I want.
There you go.
At the end of the day, I don't care if it's red, blue. If something is working, something is working.
I agree with you. I agree with you. I think Bill Clinton would be awesome right now. If Trump got out and Bill Clinton went in, I'm not going to cry.
Sure enough, fair enough. Man, so when I say that I don't support Trump, it doesn't necessarily mean that I don't support the government or that I don't support the institutions or I don't support the obviously legal routes that he's taking to do these things. I don't support the manner in which he's going about it, mostly because I did not vote for his cabinet. I did not vote for the people talking to him on his shoulder. I did not vote for Elon Musk. I did not vote for RFK. I voted, obviously, let's say I did vote for Trump. I didn't vote for most of this.
Well, that's because they're presidential appointments, dude, and they're confirmed through the Senate and the House. Your vote
But I agree. No, I'm not saying that I'm not saying that that's weird. I'm not saying that that's a new.
You just disagree with his cabinet. That's fine. You don't necessarily think his cabinet's qualified. Is that it?
What bothers me the most is how much faith the Republican politicians specifically, like actually elected senators, have put into the executive branch. What bothers me is that, sure, if you want to say that Biden ruined our government, fine, and Trump has to redo it, that's fine. That's the opinion. That's okay. We're allowed to talk about that because we're Americans. We're allowed to have those opinions, and we're allowed to elect a new guy that's going in there and saying, all right, I'm going to undo this stuff. What does bother me is the way that he's going about it, because these executive orders are, A, not going to hold us for the next, if a Democrat gets elected again,
we know this.
Turns out.
Yes,
I know
you're
that.
right.
I assumed you did.
We all
why
agree.
is this a viable?
Well, because you can't.
Why does he think that this is a viable strategy? Putting so much power into the executive branch currently.
I'll tell you
when
why.
He knows that
I'll
a good
tell
amount of
you.
his voter base
Would you like
hates
to know
the federal
why?
government.
Do you want to know why? I'll tell you why. Here it is.
Yeah, go for it, man. I'm seriously curious.
Because Donald Trump proved everyone wrong from 2016 till 2020, right before COVID. You saw record lows of unemployment. You saw every single demographic from COLA to taxes benefit from Trump's plans. All 17 tax brackets benefited. You saw Abraham Accords in the Middle East. You saw USMCA and NAFTA be literally destroyed because that was one thing Bill Clinton didn't do right. And we can go on and on. We can go about energy. We can go at inflation. We can look at growth. We can look at the average growth of 2.9%, which blew Obama out of the water. I even had a 4.2, which was the highest in like 30 years. We can do. Hold on, but let me finish. Let me finish. And then he was not rewarded in 2020. Now, I can go into that. Do I believe in the stolen election? No, I don't. No way, shape, or form.
I was going to ask that.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't stolen. But I'll tell you, it was an unconstitutional election. But that's a whole nother conversation. And we can have
the write-ins.
It's not. No, it's not write-ins. At 50 million mail-in ballots of unregistered voters and duplicate voters was sent out.
That's what I meant.
Yeah, mail-ins. Absolutely, it was because of mail-ins, and I can show you the numbers. But that's a whole nother conversation. What I'm trying to say is he wasn't rewarded with the second presidency. Donald Trump believes that if he can go in here and fix what Biden did, and that America would remember, which is why he won the election. They gave him a pass on COVID.
It is.
That's right. That if he can go ahead and make these changes in the first year and a half, he believes he can be one of the first presidents in U.S. history, outside of two others, who can actually maintain the House during his presidency. And the real big change, then he gets a rubber stamp to pretty much pass whatever the fuck he wants and make these executive orders legitimate. That's why he's doing this. He doesn't have the power now because you have neocons that are literally turning and burning. You're seeing people like Nadler jump off the ship. Why? You're seeing Thomas Massey be exposed. You're seeing Marjorie Taylor Greene be exposed. These people need to be rooted out of our party. Republicans have too many. Hold on. Let me get on my roll. Have too many neocons and uniparty. Donald Trump can't do what he needs to do with these backbiters in Congress and the Senate, and he is trying to shed the fat on both sides so we can get some new blood in there that actually want to make some freaking change. Like Ro Khanna, who happens to be a Democrat, and Eli Crane, who happens to be a Republican. These are the people that we need in Congress. People like Harold Ford Jr. on Fox News, who is a Democrat, who I would vote for president tomorrow if he ran. We don't have any moderates anymore. We have the extreme left and the extreme right, and they aren't extreme because they all went to the same college and belong to the same circle jerk country clubs, and it's the uniparty, and it needs to be destroyed.
Lawrence, let's assume for a second that you make a particular dollar amount, and I'm just going to go ahead and point this out. Let's just go with $100,500. Which would you rather pay in taxes, 22% or 25%?
Do you actually believe that Trump is going to hold it down at the 0.2% level, and do you think that it's ever going to?
No, that's not
because
what
I hear a lot of people saying that.
Just answer Leroy and then ask that
obviously,
question.
I'd much rather pay the lower number, but I also want to ask you, in what world was 25% income tax even suggested by an actual, not an actual Democrat?
That was because that was Harris's actual tax plan.
That's correct.
I actually have the numbers right here.
It's 25%. And that's
25%
it was 25% for $100,500. It was 28% for $191,000, and it was 33% for $243,700.
That is absolutely correct. That is correct.
That's 100%. She said that.
Yes.
Yeah.
She said
it was on her. It was on her front page. Not only is he looking it up right now, but I absolutely did a show on their tax code. This is why the Democrats lie to you, brother. And let me tell you this: the tax code that you have right now, whose is it? The tax code that's in place right now, who was the original drafter of that tax code? Which administration?
That's a fantastic question. I'm assuming it's Trump's first term.
It's Trump.
Phone.
It's Trump.
Okay.
And how could it have been? It was only a 4-year tax code because Biden and the Democrats continued the tax code. It's the exact same one, and they just went ahead and extended it again until 2028. Let me ask you this. The tariffs that were put on China that were put in place in 2018, 2019 because of the steel dumping, who originated those?
The tariffs?
Yeah.
Good question. I don't know anything.
Donald
about
J.
that.
Trump in 2018-19, and also the Democrats extended those too because they're still in place now, and Donald Trump didn't have to reapply them. Let me ask you this: the 183 different brands of medication and pharmaceuticals that were dropped in price, who proposed that legislation, especially diabetes medicine with insulin? Whose proposal was that?
The Trump administration.
That's right. And Biden let it expire and then slapped a new name on it and took credit for it as they passed it again.
Sure did.
Democrats lie to you all the time,
But,
bro.
well, once again, sure, they're allowed to lie to me. I'm not arguing that. Yes, of course they lied. I'm not trying to, okay, first of all, I'm not trying to argue as if
they lie to you, but you just made the argument that you trust the government and or politicians.
That's the point.
At some point,
so
you
what
have
you're
to pick a
saying
lane,
is that
brother.
it just should be. No, I mean, come on. What,
Tell me
90,
a Republican lie.
99%
Tell
of
me
the
a
population,
Republican lie. Tell
do
me.
you trust the government?
No, tell me a Republican lie. Tell me when the Republicans stood up there and told you that you should believe in the government, that the government has the best answer. Please just give me a piece of legislation. Is it the supposed Medicare and Social Security cuts that had nothing to do with your mom and pop Social Security and Medicare? Do we understand that they are trying to eliminate fraud? And it's not even fraud, it's neglect.
Yeah.
It's neglect.
Let's talk about that. Okay, so this is the things that I really want to get to with you guys, and I actually really do appreciate this conversation.
Sure, me
I
too.
do kind of want to hear your perspective more so than I want to give mine on something.
Then let me say one thing, folks. Donations are
I would love to. Yeah.
I got to do a commercial quick.
Yeah.
Donations are at 95.24, folks. I know this is intriguing. This happens all the time when we get into a good spot. This is great. I have no. I will do this all night with Lawrence because I love it. It's a good conversation.
Yeah.
But we can't forget donations, folks. So please help us out. Let's pay for the time we're on air, and we'll go into overtime because we're having fun. All right, Lawrence, go ahead.
Okay, so first of all, do you think that how do I put this? I don't need to really.
Take your
I
time.
don't know.
Take your time.
I'm trying to think of the most actually least rambly way of putting this.
Okay.
So what bothers me the most about the modern Republican strategy, let's just go with strategy. I feel like strategy is a pretty apt term for this. Is the concept of Democrats ruined everything and we're going to fix it. Because I feel like it's just not a sustainable business model, first of all. And I feel like we have to also, no matter what policies, no matter the things that are happening within the internal government, because most people don't care about that at all. Most people don't even look into it. We get to look at what they have to say to the public, right? The statements that they make. Yeah. And I want to just point out the fact that, yes, they do lie. They have to lie. Everyone has to lie. If you think the Republicans are just truthful because of the goodness of their
I don't. I was just asking you to give me an example. See,
an example of the thing that actually affected people.
My job is to point out the hypocrisy of people, right? And I'm not saying you're a hypocrite because we all are hypocrites in one way or another. Are we conservatives? Right. Yes. But my point is that if you just assume that the Republicans are doing the same thing the Democrats are, and you don't have any evidence or any exculpatory statements or even any anecdotal evidence to prove that, then that is called willful ignorance. And you're making an insufferable comparison contrast, which is just laden in feelings and emotions. I'm asking you to stop and make arguments on the other side, because I can tell you that there are Republican policies that I disagree with wholeheartedly.
Absolutely.
But you know what they don't do? They don't go ahead and piss on me and tell me it's raining. I get the good and the bad. But what happens with Democrats that pisses me off is like the don't say gay bill, where the term gay and lesbian wasn't in the bill at all. And we were told that it was this anti-homophobic, Pulse nightclub hating bill, and it was absolutely not. It was simply this: you have no right to educate our children on homosexuality and transgender nature or gender-affirming care in our schools. It needs to stop. And without parents' consent, it can't happen. That's not anti-gay. That's just get your fucking hands off my kids.
My overarching point, Lawrence, to all of that, my overarching point to all this, Lawrence, was that if you don't trust the government, then why in the hell would you ever vote for a party that is wanting to take more of your liberties? And I understand that the Democrats often ask for that, but you don't see that nearly as much from the Republicans. By far and above, as a general statement, the Republicans don't ever ask me to give up more of my liberties.
And
that
they never
only
have.
That only seems to come
They don't ask you.
from the left.
They don't ask you specifically. 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 They don't
What's that?
So the gay kid that's sitting, let me just propose a hypothetical. You're saying that the Republicans have never asked you. You're saying you as in the general American public, correct? Not you specifically. Not
Yes,
referring
that's
to just
correct.
you, Matt.
Hold on a second. We had a
Okay,
super.
so what
We got a super chat. Hold on.
Hold on.
One thing grinds
word.
my gear. Kamala now has a dozen LA officers protecting her home on taxpayer dollars. Why is this allowed? She is behind the defund the police, but not for her thoughts. Nancy, I'm going to answer that after we get done with Lawrence. Thank you for the super chat. I greatly appreciate it. It's
Thank
good to
you,
see
Nancy.
my YouTube people showing up for us. Lawrence, go ahead. Finish your thought.
First of all, yeah, hell yeah, Nancy. Oh yeah. I want to say this. I want to hear your actual perspective on this instead of some talking points. You guys are actually like the most brain rotted conservatives I've talked to, and like actual conservatives, not just like conservative leaning, but like.
And you're not talking to conservatives, bro, because everyone in my channel talks like this. Every influencer I've ever spent a day with or time with, and I've got hundreds in my Rolodex. We think the same way on this is because we have a secondary education that isn't required with a degree from a major university. It's called experiential learning in life. And that is the thing you're referring to when it came to getting older, being more conservative. When people have something to call their own, they naturally want to protect it. And when people have nothing, they want what other people have. That is basically, in the nutshell, Democrats versus Republicans, bro.
No.
Thank you, Mel. $51.99. Appreciate you. Love you.
Thank you, Mel.
Go ahead, Lawrence. Sorry.
My question mostly is just, okay, so you say that the Republican Party has never come for you. The Republican Party has definitely come for somebody at some point. And the Republican Party, 100%. And you talk about the don't say gay bill. That's a minute ago. And, obviously there's more or less consequences of it. But I want to talk about right now, currently right now, the way that, let's not even say Trump, let's not even say Republican politicians. Let's just say that, unfortunately, the people that are also on your side. You have to admit, at the very least, that the people that are ideologically pretty connected to you also are kind of wild, right? That they're not all the most level-headed people in the world.
Oh,
you have to admit that for the out group being me, they treat me as if I'm some lunatic, and they refuse to talk with me.
Who has treated you that way on this show or in this chat?
No, go in general in my life.
No, I'm asking.
Well, I'm not going to talk anecdotal. I'm going to talk about the comments that you see on Trump's post.
I will agree with you. I will.
The Ben Shapiro's of the world, the Matt Walsh's. I have to say
okay.
that those are the people that you supposedly agree with.
No, I don't agree with Ben Shapiro, and I think Matt Walsh is a fucking idiot.
Word. Okay, fair enough. Well, I guess my point right now.
No. Wait a second. I think Matt Walsh is a sexist douche. I think his no, it's not that he's an asshole. His takes are shit. He used to be fairly based, but Ben Shapiro, I don't idolize Ben. I disagree with a lot. I think he is never going to be America first. I think he's Israel first. I think that is just a part of being a Jew, and it's okay, and I agree with him. But what I don't like is when he pretends he's America first, but then as soon as it's questioning Israel, he dumps America in a heartbeat. I don't like that shit. I think it's disingenuous.
I agree as well.
Okay, But Ben Shapiro is extremely based. I don't have any problem with his fundamental, except that he's wrong all the time. He was wrong on Trump.
Yeah,
he was wrong on COVID. He was wrong on vaccines. The guy's been wrong a lot. But quickly.
How do you stand? Okay, I guess my overarching point of this, and I'm just bringing up examples, but at the end of the day, I can't say that I've ever heard a liberal say that he doesn't support, when it comes to the gay thing, and I want to hang up on that because that's not...
Okay, then let's get to it. And I want to be clear. I just think Matt Walsh's takes since the exodus from Daily Wire, I had a lot of... Dude, I stood next to Matt Walsh when he delivered his speech in Fairfax, okay? I just don't like his takes recently. I don't. I'm just not a big fan of the sexist, machismo, lumberjack shirt. And the beard can't get any bigger. I still enjoy him sometimes, but I think he does it for shock value, and I don't appreciate that. I don't like clickbait. I don't like Benny for the same reason. I don't like Cenk Uyghur for the same reason. All right, so hit the gay thing. Ask the damn question. I know what you want to ask me, so just ask it. Yeah. And you were going to give me a hypothetical.
I don't think you know what I want to ask you.
All right, maybe I don't.
I want to ask you why it is such... I want to ask you, are you for sex education in schools? Are you an abstinence type of fellow?
Okay. So let me answer that question.
Just quickly.
I can't do it quickly because it's not, I don't play that game. I haven't rushed you, and I'm certainly not going to allow you to rush me. Here's the thing, but I will try to do it as quickly and succinctly as I can. I believe sex education is an essential part of school as long as it is coupled with parental guardians and approval.
Second, yes. I 100% agree. Second question, do you think that being gay is a choice? Not being openly gay and living the lifestyle, but feeling an attraction towards the same sex. Do you think that it is an active choice that you make?
So do you want me to address the Jonathan Witten donated $50. John, thank you so much.
Thank you, Jonathan.
Hey, good shit, John.
John Whiten, right? It's Whiten, not Witten. Yep, Whiten. He told me last night it's Whiten. I'm sorry, Jonathan. Jonathan Whiten, thank you. Here's what do you want the physical answer or the mental answer?
I want to see. I also want to point out that this is a distinctly American topic of conversation.
All right, let me answer your question. I won't be coy. I worked for Apple for 5 years, and in that process, I had thousands of direct reports, and I've interviewed over my retail career thousands of direct reports. One of my successes was to go into markets that were broken. For instance, Arizona, Colorado on Florida Avenue, going into Bakersfield, and fixing districts that were broken. And the first thing I did is I went and I recruited the demographic of the town or city that it was in. And the only thing I asked is, can you deliver exceptional customer service, and can you give me an example of what it was like? And if they moved me, I hired them. Doesn't matter what color they were, doesn't matter what creed they were, religion or whatever else. And I will hold true to that. Some of the hardest hitting SEALs that I know, some of the most hardest SEAL team members that I know, bat for the other side. So I'm not gonna sit here and tell you some of the best hockey players I ever played with were gay. I have a ton of gay and lesbian friends. I mean, when I say a ton, I am talking hundreds. And I have talked to all of them about this. Some of them live and some of just sitting around having a cigar and a whiskey. I believe the answer is both. I believe homosexuality can have predispositions based on genetic structure, DNA, and influence and everything else. I believe that some people have a proclivity to be gay or homosexual, bisexual, lesbian, inherently, that they're just like alcoholism and everything else can be hereditary. I believe that yes, some people have a proclivity to be gay or homosexual. However, I also know that Leroy, you, myself, everyone in chat has had some sort of homosexual fantasy in their life. Whether they went into a locker room and saw a man and looked down and said, nope, that's not for me. I don't like dick. Or they had a dream and had a nocturnal emission and woke up and said, oh my God, I was dreaming about a guy and I did this. Freud talks about this. But there is a repudiation that takes place during that process, or an acceptance to another idea that moves you forward. And that is most assuredly a choice. So it's both. But I will tell you that there are people in the middle of life who decide, I'm gay, and everyone says, they've always been gay. And then there's people who are gay in the middle of life who then decide to be straight, and they say, well, they were never gay. I think it's both.
So do you think, and that's a fantastic answer, thank you for articulating that so well. Seriously. Next question might be a little racy. Do you think, you say that you're against it being taught in sex education? What grade level are we talking? Are we talking like high school, or are we talking like first sex ed, like the penis goes in the vagina?
Yeah.
In 6th grade.
Okay, quickly, and then listen, I just want to answer this as fast as I can. That is up to a parent's decision. Now, my kids go through FLE, and it talks about drugs, pregnancy, sexually transmitted diseases. My daughter went through it at 14. My son went through it at 12 because boys become sexually promiscuous at an earlier age. And I felt it was a good idea, but I previewed all the curriculum and anything that I disagreed with, which was they were talking about anal sex, and I removed them from that experience because I don't want them on Pornhub. I don't want them learning about what is intimacy from a guy railing a chick and then bricking on her face, okay? I don't want that influence. I want my children to understand that sex is a beautiful and passionate thing, and there is a time for all those things to happen, and it's college. It has nothing to do with when they're 12 and 14 and 15. So I just want parental control over things like that, and I don't want it kept from me. If my daughter wants to be called a boy, or she's changing with a boy in a room, I should be aware of that. And the problem is that schools are keeping it from parents. Leroy, and then Lawrence.
real quickly, Lawrence, I'm going to tell you something, and I want you to tell me whether or not you agree with it or not. Because if you were to
Yeah, go for
ask
it.
me that, and I'm just going to go ahead and give you my answer, right? If somebody is gay or not gay, or if it's organic or if it's environmental, nature, nurture, all of that crap, I'm going to tell you the best answer you've probably ever heard. I don't give a shit. Love who you want to love, man. The idea that people can control who they're attracted to, I don't care. And guess what? That is about a far right-leaning belief as you can get.
Yep.
It's only when you travel farther left that eventually you get told that homosexuality is bad or good, or we have to judge it, or we have to set up some goalposts around it, or those are all left-leaning ideas. What's that?
No, never mind. Continue. Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt.
No.
And I say that because there are blatant examples of it, blatant examples of far left-leaning ideologies who have to put that kind of thing in a box. But the farther right,
there's people on the left of America. There's left. What do you mean? When you say far left, are you talking far left America standards or far left like European standards? Because those are very different things when it comes to the Western world.
Those are opposite, right? Those are opposite. Generally speaking, the right in Europe are kind of the left here, and the left here are kind of the right in Europe. So we have to make sure that we're making that distinction. I would say places like China. I would say places like North Korea. I would say places like Russia.
Cuba.
Those are left-leaning. Cuba, left-leaning, right?
They're not left-leaning. They're as far left as you possibly can.
Lawrence,
get.
are you gay?
What?
Are you gay?
As a matter of fact, I am.
I would take a baseball bat to anyone who tried to harm you or put rules against you.
Yeah.
I would go to war for you and stand shoulder to shoulder to protect your freedom and liberty to choose whatever person you want to love, and I would die defending you. And
Likewise, brother.
Okay, then I don't care about this left and right bullshit. I call out the left because they're hypocrites and they refuse to admit that they own some of this. I call.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
That's it. They sit there and pretend that their proverbial shit doesn't stink, and it stinks just as bad. And they have used the LGBTQ community because, brother, 12 years ago, they fucking hated you.
Yeah. Remember it was
More
Joe
so than
Biden's
conservative Republicans?
Yes. Conservatives just said you were living in sin, and they hated the sin, but not the man. The leftists hated you. They didn't want you to have equality in marriage. They didn't want you to have any special tax breaks. They didn't want you to have civil unions. They didn't want pride parades in their city.
Correct.
Hillary Clinton, Obama, Biden, all of them hated the fucking LGBT.
Hold
on, I'm almost done. Let me finish. The only reason Obama pushed forward LGBTQ legislature because fucking Joe idiot Biden said it and openly committed Obama to do it, and Obama had to.
Yep,
that's the only reason.
You're saying that in a world where they didn't do any of that, it actually would be. And let's be fully honest here. I'm not saying that it's you guys. You guys rule. I'd love to have more chats with you guys. I'd be friends with you guys. You guys actually are really nice people. You have to admit that the very religious leaning tend to go to the right. And you have to admit, at the very least, that fact. Can you admit that the majority of actively homophobic religious people are voting right more so than left in elections?
Hold on. Let me just
quiet.
I know, but I have to process it. So hold on.
Okay.
Maybe I can say it a little bit better.
See, I think there's a difference between homophobia and recognizing it as a sin.
Sure, but do you?
I don't think if a religious group says that what you're doing is sin, just like they say murder's a sin. They're not anti people who commit murder. Of course they are, but they recognize it as a sin and a mortal sin. Homosexuality in the Bible, I mean, we can sit here and go over it multiple times, and usually it's
like one verse though, man.
It's not one verse. That's not true. That's not true at all. In the New Testament, the New Testament talks about it multiple times. I'm not trying to sit here and say that do I believe God condemns homosexuals? No, I do not. Do I believe they're going to burn in hell? No, but I think they need to repent for their sin, just like all of us do. And
Sure, yeah,
homosexuality
that's
is
very-
a sin in the eyes of God. And you can't change that for me. And I do believe marriage is, but hold on. I believe marriage is between a man and a woman, but government should not be in charge of marriage. It should be the church because it's defined in the Bible. And it really frustrates me that marriage is defined by the government. I don't think the government should be involved in any of that shit. So should gay people be married? Yes. I completely agree, but I don't think they should be married under a church setting, under church law. I just don't. And it has nothing to
Your
do.
religion. That's not the government.
But the government oversees all marriage. They annul marriages. They license the marriages. They tax the marriages. They decide the marriage's tax code. Of course they do.
Indeed, they do. So you're saying you would just leave it up to the church?
Yes.
If you had your way.
Yes, and if you want to create a denomination of Christianity that accepts homosexuality, then make your own coven, make your own place of worship.
Well, I think where you're getting
That's
hung
why
up
so
there,
many people
Lawrence,
that's why so many people on the left are becoming anti-religious. It's because of things of that nature.
But it doesn't mean.
No
But it
offense.
doesn't mean you're not accepted. Leroy, I'm sorry. It doesn't mean you're not accepted, though. You don't understand.
So what side would I rather go to if I was? Let me just say that hypothetically, I'm a 13-year-old who just really figured out that he's gay. Like that, there's no real, like you're
Sure.
there, you're at that point. Let's say 15, and I'm on the fence between going to the right or let's just say religion or not religion. I didn't grow up religious. I kind of have this choice now. I'm growing up. I'm reading a little bit more about it. Maybe I even bought a Bible. Would I rather go to the side that sometimes hates me, or would I rather go to the side that usually doesn't? Would I rather go to the side that I can look up evidence of churches right now in America being blatantly homophobic and openly violent towards gay people in their rhetoric, or would I go to the side that just avoids all of that entirely?
Those people aren't children.
You get what I'm
Listen,
saying?
those people are children of God, but they don't speak for Him.
Right.
But do you get what I mean?
No, I do and I don't, because your, I'm going to say it for 10 seconds and then it's Leroy's, because your introduction of God should be you and the Bible before any church
Most definitely.
is approached or any door is croached. Go ahead, Leroy, your point.
At the beginning of the segment, at the beginning of the show, Matt and I talked about the separations of church and state. I think this is a situation where you need to apply that a little bit here, right? Separate the people that go to church from the people who run the government. And if you can, just kind of step back and try to imagine yourself not in a victimhood mentality, not from the side of, oh, well, those people over there, they don't like me. Or these people over here, they do like me. If you can separate yourself from that idea of victimhood, then I think it really doesn't matter, right?
Do you feel persecuted, Lawrence?
Ever?
Yes.
Just in a general sense, yeah, a couple times, sure.
Was it by Christians?
Yeah, it was.
How?
In my family.
Okay,
It's anecdotal, so it's not really like
their
an actual
Christianity
argument,
didn't
but-
define the persecution. Their disappointment in their own selves was castigated upon you. That had nothing to do with God.
No, my grandpa, very devout religious man. We kind of made up for it in the past few years. But
Okay,
yeah,
well that's a human. Let me just say this: Christians are single-handedly the most persecuted people on the planet. Jews, blacks, Hindus, Muslims, doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Christians are the most.
When you say persecuted, do you mean people pushing back against their ideas, or people?
No, I'm talking about people.
policies
I'm talking about people
to harm
throwing them
them?
into pits with dogs, or beheading them, or throwing them off of buildings, or burning them alive. So, if you go through Christian history, the persecution of Christians and Catholics is the most prominent in society. I think we understand. Hold on. I think we understand. You're going to be a history major. And I would just ask you if you don't know the answer to this, is to please just do a little research on it and get back to me and let me know if I'm full of shit or not.
Yeah, of course.
Or can you please name another race, color, creed, or religion who's been persecuted more than the Christians?
Sure.
Okay.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
That's your question?
That's yes. And if you don't know the answer,
Obviously, yes. Christianity has been persecuted on
Thank
a
you.
major scale.
Thank you. Then we don't want to persecute gays and homosexuals. What we want is for you to respect our beliefs. We want you to understand that hold on.
Anyone arguing?
But you are arguing. But listen, okay, so you're saying that there's not a propensity for homosexuals to debase and disrespect God. You're telling me that you guys don't do that.
It depends. If you're
Come on,
if you're
dude.
going by the Bible's definition of sin,
Come on, dude. The homosexual community,
but
by and
I don't-
large, despise religion, and they castigate aspersions on Christians. They do. I'm not saying Christians, some don't deserve it. Southborough Baptist, man, nuke them. But for you to sit here and say that there's not a propensity for the liberal education systems and homosexual groups, they don't just despise organized religion and treat us like we're a bunch of heathens, it goes both ways, dude. There's a lot more than sex defining us.
No,
How did
I
you
think
feel
that
when,
actually,
when you heard Joe Biden condemn the idea of gay marriage? How did that make you feel?
like back in the day, I think he's a fucking idiot. I wouldn't have voted for him.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I did. I don't like Joe Biden. I'm not saying I like Joe Biden just because I say I don't like Trump. And I'm not saying that I don't like Christians just because I don't like the fact that there are Christians that are out there persecuting. I'm saying that of my liberal friends, of the liberal media that I consume, and things about it, it's just whatever. I mean,
go ahead. You're fine. Take your time.
You get what I mean?
I don't
heard any of them say what.
I don't know. I have heard people call homosexuals fags. I've heard them degrade them. I've used the term. I mean, God, fag was like dude in my language when I was younger. But
I'm not ever going to cross.
And I call my gay friends fags all the time. And because we have,
and it's just a word in a.
That's right. That's right. It's
setting. Yeah.
I use racial epithets on people all the time, and the reason why is because they know my loyalty to them, and it's humor. My good friend Barry Morgenstein's Jewish, and we make fun of Jews all the time, and he's like as Jewish as they get. Yeah. And because I believe politically correctness is wrong, I think it's stupid, and I think. But
would you ever, if you saw a man with a pride flag on the street, would you go up to him?
I wouldn't even go up. I would ignore him like I ignore everybody.
No. But like, if you in a hypothetical situation, you're trying to walk up to him and be friendly.
I don't do hypotheticals. If I wanted to be friendly with him, I'd be friendly with him. And it wouldn't it be because he had a pride flag, and it wouldn't it be because he was gay. It's because,
I know.
No, you don't. No, Lawrence, you don't, because you don't know how I work. You don't know how my mind works.
I don't know how you work. You're
Let me explain it to you.
I am asking you.
I'm going to avoid that person like the plague because I can't stand people. But I'll tell you what: if if a group of people come out and they start jumping that kid, I'm going to die fighting to protect him.
God bless America. My question and my real big thing that I'm getting at, because it is willful ignorance to explain that Christianity actually, it's considered a sin, and you guys are level-headed people, and you say that sin needs to be repented for, but we all sin, so it's fine. I don't think that the government should impose anything. Yeah, fine. You understand that there are tens of millions of Americans that consider sin itself to be wholly evil, and therefore anything that they have been told was a sin,
sin is
from the
evil.
Bible, from their church.
Sin is evil.
No, but not. Yes, of course. On a biblical sense, yes, sin as the concept is technically evil if you believe in that religion, but wholeheartedly evil as in they are making a choice to destroy either themselves or others. A lot of people would agree with that. So when I see something that says, once again, I'm not trying to paint all Christians. I'm trying to paint all Muslims and all Jews and all of these like very staunchly religious people that have grown up with these beliefs. And I'm not trying to paint, I'm saying that the religious system as a whole, unfortunately, is incredibly unfair to the outgroup. Doesn't matter what the outgroup is at that
Of course.
time.
And it was unfair to African Americans. It was unfair to women. And the Catholic religion was very unfair to children, which I have some experience with too, which you and I can talk about at some point.
Sure.
Lawrence, nobody's disagreeing with you.
No, but my point, getting back to the original point, is that if we refuse to admit that homosexuality exists in schools, unfortunately, I agree with you. Yes, go through parents. I honestly boggles the mind how many parents don't read any of the shit that gets sent out to them.
Right.
And they just pass it. I don't care what side of political spectrum on. I don't care what the thing is about. Read it. And I agree. You are within your right to pull your child out of that situation if you would like to. Yes. What does bother me is blanket bans, blanket misusing of words, blanket things at schools. Unfortunately, mostly Republican schools that I'm seeing are just imposing. They're just saying that we're not going to bring it up. We're not allowed to mention it. Too many parents complain, so we're just going to take it out.
Oh, no, brother, this is my fight. And if you knew my involvement in this, all you got to do is Google me and Brandon Michon, and you would understand my involvement. I was arrested by CPS because of my stances against the schools. So trust me. Trust me when I say this. I know all the
Well, then I guess my
cases.
question
We're
to
not
you
the
is, you're
ones who
that
banned To
involved.
Kill a Mockingbird because that wasn't us. Wasn't us.
I don't think it's you. What I do think and what I do know and what you just said earlier, unfortunately, and I'm not trying to get mean, but for a gay child, not child, let's go, 14. You said your daughter did sex ed in 14. Let's say there's a lesbian, gay, it doesn't matter. Any of those people, they show up to sex ed. They show up and they row. You know what? I am already different. I already get made fun of on the internet. I already probably get made fun of in real life. Still aren't that
Fair.
fucking accepting when they're 13.
You're right.
And I'm trying. One second.
I said
I've
you're right.
been made fun of my whole life. I have been a part of, quote unquote, the out group. Let's just say the out group. The out group, and if they live in a rural town and you're an African American gay gentleman, I doubt that you have many friends that look or act like you in that exact sense. So when you get to that point and you go, all right, all of my friends, this is a serious topic. I can't talk to my father about it. I can't talk to my church about it because I'm afraid what they're going to say.
Sure.
I am relying on information to be passed to me. And they don't get passed. That's what leads to genuine sexual destruction of a person. And it bothers me that we have completely, instead of giving the parents the rights and all of these things, that Republicans have gone and at the very least accepted the fact that other Republicans are going to do this. They're just going to ban it. Same with abortions and all of those nature, because I agree. I do not think that late-term abortions are cool. I disagree with actually a lot of the Democratic stance on how abortions work and why they exist, et cetera, et cetera. But I think that a blanket ban on that is unfortunately naive, and it will not stand for very long because it is a naive.
Lawrence,
my point on these sort of things, and the point that I'm getting to, sorry,
it's okay,
is that you guys wonder why it's so young.
No, I don't.
All these young transgenders.
No, I don't. I don't wonder why.
People.
I don't wonder why.
I'm not saying you. I'm saying you as the right. You have to admit.
I don't think the right is disillusioned and wondering either. We know exactly why the liberals are doing this in public education. Do you want to know why?
I wish you.
You're a history major. Have you read Nietzsche?
I don't see the.
Have you read Nietzsche?
Yeah, actually,
Are you familiar? Have you read about Nietzsche? Have you read about?
Like, what are you?
Have you read about? I'm asking if you've read on Nietzsche. It's fairly simple. If someone says, "Have you read Shakespeare?" Is do you know who Shakespeare?
Oh yeah. No,
Great.
sorry, I said
Great.
yeah and then comma.
Oh, have you studied what nihilism is?
Nihilism, the concept of it, yes.
And the three phases of nihilism.
So
have you? Hold on a second. Let me answer. Well, if you allow me to. I just allowed you to go and just keep going.
That's a good point.
Okay.
Good point.
So have you studied Solinsky or Maoism? Have you studied what the Catholic Church did to Da Vinci, what they did to Michelangelo? Did you study what happened with Darwin?
Yeah,
okay, well, I want you to study two things for me. If you're going to be a professor, I want you to dive into dive into the Age of Enlightenment period. And I want you to look at Voltaire. Yeah. I want you to look at Nietzsche, and I want you to look at the replacement of Christianity, where Christianity was removed and secularism was pushed, and it had to be replaced with something, and it was replaced with evolution. And I want you to take the comparison contrast between the things we see today of where the left stands, which are extremely anti-religion, and any of the left who pretend that they are Christians or that they are a believer in God are really talking out of the sides of their mouths, because there's no way the things that they actually support, which are modern-day slave plantations, black youth murdering each other, keeping 75 years, these cities that I mentioned earlier, under the guise of freedom and expression and capitalism, when they are controlled by the government in every single facet, from the food that they eat, from the money that they get in the fatherless homes, and the destruction of the patriarch and matriarchal system in society. If you take a look at abortion and modern day eugenics, which has plagued the black communities more than anywhere else, and turning them subsequently against religion, this all goes back to the Age of Enlightenment and the replacement theory of God with science. And if it's funny thing is it's not the church. You may watch the Da Vinci Code and go, oh, well, the church and the Catholics and the Vatican were against science. That is not true in any way, shape, or form. In fact, the churches tried to prop up Michelangelo. That's why he painted the Sistine fucking Chapel. Why wouldn't they have killed him? Yeah. So my point is if you look through history, this is so much further back than yesterday or 20 years ago. This goes back millennia.
But I'm talking about yesterday.
What I want you to do is so you can understand where Christians are coming from, is that they don't
No,
have a
I
problem.
very much understand.
They don't. No, I don't think you
Where
do.
Christians are coming from
Because
with
you
their
keep saying
persecution.
it's about God. It's about the replacement of their religion and the persecution that Christians have experienced under the hand of nihilists.
And I would be wholeheartedly agreeing with you right now, because I do agree with the things you're saying are factually correct. What bothers me is the persecution complex when you guys are the in-group. You are the in-group to end all in-groups. Well, hear me out. You have the largest population of most people in the United States today. Most voting individuals are Christians, or at least Christian aligned. And they say that on the census. Can we agree on that?
Yes.
Sure.
Okay. So when you guys talk about persecution and you put it, and not you guys, but I'm going to say just the right in general, because you guys.
No, it's me. I'm saying it. I am saying that.
Fair enough, but I'm going to talk to you directly, brother. When you say that Christian persecution is a genuinely large issue on a grand scale, but you downplay the effects of whole-heart abortion bans, and you downplay the effects on individual people.
Name one state that has banned abortion.
Banned abortion? No one state is outright banned it.
Then why are you saying? Then why are you saying it?
Huh?
Then why are you saying that there are states that have banned abortion? Nobody's banned abortion in the United States. Every single state allows abortions.
Correct.
Do you think that they would if they were given the chance?
I don't think that's up to me. I think it's up to the states and the constituents of that
Do you think
state,
they
because
would?
I believe wholeheartedly in the 10th
Amendment.
Amendment.
Ohio went pretty hard in the paint with their abortion shit. Do you think that if they were given the legality by the Constitution to do it, would they ban abortion?
That's a hypothetical, but I think the state will decide based upon the majority vote, and they have that power, and they should do that. And if you don't like it, move the fuck out of the state. If you're gonna die on the hill of I want to rip a baby out of my uterus and kill it because I was irresponsible, that's your prerogative. Do it.
Fair enough.
Do it.
Okay, fair enough. We got off. I got off.
All right, Lawrence, I'm going to give you the final minute. I'm going to have Leroy go, and then you get I know I'm going to let Leroy go. Hold on. I got to control the conversation. Leroy's going to go, and then you get a final as long as you want, Lawrence, and you get to do whatever you want because you've earned it and you've stayed up here and you've handled the crossfire. You've done a great job. Leroy, go ahead, and then Lawrence gets his final epitaph.
The opening statement to the Declaration of Independence that speaks about certain unalienable rights. The very first item listed is the right to life. And you have to admit that if you believe that statement, that if you believe in the founding documents of this country, that the right to life, the unalienable right to life, falls in stark contradiction to pro-choice. Okay, that's my first point. And I don't need a response. I don't necessarily want a response. I just want you to ruminate on that. And then the other thing that I'm going to point out, Matt gave you a reading list. Okay, I'm going to add one to that. Do you know who Ayn Rand is? Ayn Rand was an amazing person.
Oh, yes, I do know about Ayn Rand, actually.
Okay, and I say that because we could ask any number of qualifying questions. I could sit here and ask you, do you want to be seen as a gay man, or do you just want to be seen as Lawrence? Right? And I say that because she has one of the most important quotes of all time. The smallest minority on earth is the individual, and those who deny individual rights cannot claim to be defenders of minorities. That's all I got.
Lawrence, someone asked on Twitch, hold on. I assume there are plenty of gays who oppose abortion. Yeah. And there's plenty of Republicans who prominently agree with abortion.
Yeah.
That's not my point. The point is, the reason it was brought up is because I'm talking about the party. See, the difference is homosexuality. Hold on a second. I'm answering the person on Twitch, bub.
Oh, my bad.
We're talking about several layers of this. We're talking about go. We're talking about religion. We're talking about political affiliation. We're talking about sexual preference. And so we're cross-pollinating into choice of political party. And the key proponents of the Democratic Party have matriculated towards the extreme, and so have the right in a lot of ways. So my comment to Lawrence is, if right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness is the first and foremost precursor to what our government established in the Constitution of the United States and the Declaration of Independence, and those rights are beset upon natural and God-given rights, then it's absolutely antithetical to be a Democrat. In every way, shape, or form, because the first predominant precursor to your idealism in government is the right to life. And the predominant belief inside the Democratic Party, which has pushed the Democratic Party so far left, is the abortions, and which was founded in eugenics and has been going on through society for a lot longer than any other idealistic standpoint from the Democratic Party. Because most of the Democrats' principles that they had, whether it be slavery, whether it be the expansion of government, whether it be the world populist movement, whatever it be, the New World Order, have been put to the wayside for personal choices and renaming the things in society that were unimaginable just 20 years ago. JD Stillwell donated $10. Thank you, JD. Sorry we didn't get the trivia. Folks, we're at $75 away. We need some help. I'm going to let Lawrence go. Let him say whatever he wants. And you've got an unlimited amount of time. Folks, we need donations. We got to hit goal. Lawrence, go ahead.
Okay, I want to talk to Leroy real quick about Ayn Rand. I have many opinion on Ayn Rand, but I want to specifically mention that quote you said because I've heard that quote a lot, and I feel like that quote, unfortunately, still can be misconstrued.
Okay, so he's talking about, hold on, let me catch Leroy up. He wasn't on mic. Leroy, he's saying that the quote that you put out by Ayn Rand can be misconstrued, and he wanted to address it real quick, and then we're going to give him his time to close this up, and we're not going to interrupt him at all. All right, Leroy, answer.
Fair enough.
Go ahead, Lawrence. Tell him why it's
All right,
misconstrued.
Leroy, all right, wonderful. You say that the individual is the most persecuted minority. I do agree with you. I think that quote means a lot. I think it's a very important quote. I think it's a fantastic quote. Ayn Rand was a beautiful writer. Do I agree with a lot of the shit that she said? No. Do I agree with that quote in a basic sense? Yes. But I am going to say this. Do you think that the government imposing restrictions on how children, regardless of how you think about it, are you saying, first of all, are you agreeing with that quote or are you against it in its basic sense? Like, do you think that individuals should have the right to do more things or have more so feed into the collective as a government and or citizen, like population?
My view of that is that the moment somebody goes from individual to a type of group, whatever that group is, that that is the opening salvo, the very first steps of someone who progresses left.
Okay. I'm sure. So you're saying that are you saying that you'd rather have less individuality?
No.
Or more? I guess I'm kind of confused.
All the individuality.
So you're for more
I want so much less government that it's only individuals, because that's what we are as a nation. We are 350 million individuals.
Mm-hmm. Yes, most definitely. We all work towards a greater cause, and that's what makes it.
You're a Republican, dude.
God, I love this.
You're not a Democrat. You're not a fucking Democrat.
I never said I was a Democrat. I just said that I don't like this fucker.
But he's not a fucker. You can't tell me why he's a fucker.
I didn't even get to my biggest.
All right, you got your time.
We're gonna listen.
We'll do part two. We'll do part two later. This was good enough for tonight. We cut some teeth. We did it the right way. You can call back in and we can have another conversation. We'll schedule it and we'll bring you in and you can come on camera.
Are you in it?
Hell yeah.
Is that it?
Yeah, you'll do it right.
Can I say one more thing or are you ending the stream?
No, I'm not going to end it at all. But first of all, we got to keep going we got to hit goal. But you are free to go ahead and have at least 5 minutes, whatever you want to say it. Go.
Yeah, I don't even need that. I like this dialogue. See, the reason that I even come onto these live streams, I'm not coming on the live streams for like gotchas and to like, be like, oh, look how stupid they are and how smart I am. I really do want to hear you guys' perspectives. And that, unfortunately, this perspective on individualism, I just feel is so shifted from what it should be. And conservatism right now, I feel like is they're dying on this hill. They're dying on the hill that Christianity and that the idea of the founding principles of this nation shall be the principles of this nation forever. And while I do agree very much so with the Declaration of Independence, like liberty, property, or pursuit of happiness, big fan of that. I'm sure everyone is. I don't think that anyone's ever against that. And unfortunately, I believe, regardless of if you agree with it, regardless of anything, I feel like the group that is calling a lifestyle, and let's be honest, if that lifestyle was such a choice, if it was such a conscious decision that you sit there every single day and you go, yeah, I'm going to go fuck a dude because that's what I want to do. I'm doing that in an affront to God. Do you think, first of all, I guess you didn't really say it like that. I'm not going to put words in your mouth.
It's
but
okay.
You have to, you know what I'm saying? I'm not going to put words in your mouth about that. I don't know, man. It bothers me the fact that the group that votes predominantly conservative, the groups that donate primarily conservative, it is religious groups, like religious actual like big groups with influence and money are usually are personal people within them. The organizations themselves aren't donating all the money. More religious individuals tend to vote and tend to donate and to run under Republican instead of Democrat. And I think that if you are a Republican, if you're going to vote Republican, I'm not saying you guys are Republicans. Obviously you are because you're just pretty cool guys. But I think that if you're going to vote Republican and also say that you want more individualism, when you know that at the end of the day, I understand that you're a Christian. I'm also a Christian. I'm not necessarily in your same idea of Christianity. I do believe that obviously there's sin everywhere. Whether or not it goes against Scripture has never really been my main concern. Do I believe there's a God? Yes. Do I believe he loves me? Yes. Do I believe that there's sects of Christianity that right now are in power in our government that do not believe that? Yes. And it bothers me immensely that there's only one group doing that. Anti-religious folks, atheist folks, I've never seen one of them have a God hates fags flag. And I'm going to say this, and I'm going to say that the concept of modern day Republicans dying on this hill, Second Amendment, big fan of it. I'm actually very pro-gun. Do I think that shall not be infringed is some end-all, be-all? I own guns. Trust me, I'm not against banning all guns. But do I think that the shall not be infringed thing should never be looked at? No.
Okay, so here's I got it. Lawrence. I gave you 3.5. Here, thanks. Thanks for that's funny. I'm glad.
Can I get to my end point before?
No, because you can't say something like that.
Really quickly.
All right, fine. I'll let you have it, but you got to give me 1 minute after that. Go.
Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah, I want to hear what you have to say. I do got to go pretty soon, but
Me
really
too.
do
I got to go too, so
say.
you got to say your thing. Go.
My point is that, unfortunately, in my opinion, the modern day Republican, the MAGA Republican, the ones that even you guys as moderate conservatives are unfortunately putting in power, they are not for individual rights. They want to give individual rights to the in-group. And that in-group is Christian, white, straight people, which is fine. That's how countries work.
No.
You need in-groups and out-groups at the end.
Yeah, I don't agree.
Oh, come on.
That's not true.
I don't agree at all.
So,
in fact,
okay,
then let me answer quickly. If you just said that we are the in-group, then why do we need to make more laws and rules to make us the in-group when we already have all the power?
That's kind of what I'm asking also.
We don't.
If I'm being honest.
Can you please tell me one thing that Republicans have done to remove individual liberties from anyone in the United States? Go.
Well, you already know where I'm going.
No, I just asked.
Okay, I guess do you believe that? Well,
go ahead.
Decide the point, man.
All right, then I'm going to answer your Second Amendment thing, and then we're going to cut bait because we got to do this again some other time. You made a comment about the Second Amendment, and you said that should the Second Amendment be reviewed and looked at and shall be infringed. First of all, well regulated. Sure. When you define the word well regulated, what does that mean to you?
So what? I'll make it quick. Sorry,
just give me the definition, please, of well-regulated. What does that mean to you?
My definition of well-regulated is the militia specifically, or just the definition. Well-regulated is having the ability. I don't know. I mean,
yeah, I know. Isn't that funny? So
you have the ability to do the thing at any given time because of your steps.
Right. So
anyone is allowed to take steps towards being able to do the thing.
That's not it. So well-regulated, according to Democrats, means that there has to be rules and procedures in place in order to go ahead and have this right. Well-regulated in the 1700s didn't mean that. It meant disciplined. It meant organized. So what they're saying, so hold on a second. You guys need to let me finish my statement, okay? I've been very good about giving everyone time. Let me finish my statement. Well-regulated in the time period. And I can give you about 87 different literary references where it's being used in the essence that I'm mentioning. I've done this show. And it essentially means disciplined and organized, right? Like a well-regulated militia. Now, the Founding Fathers wrote us 10 beautiful individual rights, 9 actually, that were for the individual. And the reason why they wrote them was because we just got done fighting a battle and with an oppressive tyrannical government. And they let me finish, man. Let me get this out. They specifically wrote these rights for us to ensure that it limited government power, that it refused that the government would be able to usurp the power of the people ever again. So these amazing fathers wrote these amazing individual rights and then decided to go ahead and limit the one thing that it would ensure that we would be able to protect those rights they gave us, which was the Second Amendment, by ensuring that the government was the only people who could have guns. Liberals are fucking morons when it comes to the Second Amendment. They have no idea what they're talking about, and you've never heard anyone use that argument because I'm the only one who says it, and it wins every time. They would not do such because just to tap it off, they then, if they missed anything, they endowed every American and every federal government employee to ensure that the 10th Amendment protected the rights of the states. So if they missed anything, they had a get out of jail free card with the states making the decision over the federal government. That is the truth. The Second Amendment is true for every American. They have a right to bear arms to protect them against the tyrannical form of government and oppression that they had just experienced. It's not a well-regulated militia in the ways that you're thinking.
No, I'm not even talking. I'm talking the shall not be infringed because that's the part that gets everyone up in arms. Do you think that the Bill of Rights? Because I agree with you.
We got to hurry because I got to let my boy Leroy. You need to go. You go. Get out of here. Yeah, Leroy's gone. See ya.
Oh, sorry, man.
Say goodbye to Lawrence.
Nice to meet you, man.
Say goodbye to Lawrence.
Have a good one.
It was very good to meet you, Lawrence, and please come back to the show. You're an amazing kid.
Yep,
please.
I appreciate it.
I think I will be.
All right, good. Lawrence, give me your last question, then we got to go. We got to cut bait.
Okay, it's my bad, dude. Do you think that the shall not be infringed part is a 100% can't touch it, or do you think are you one of those, or are you make sense?
I'm not one of those because my mom taught me that one and those is the same word, and I'm not being a dick. I just never use these ones and stuff like that. I am not one of anything. I am a well-read individual who understands what the founding fathers want, because I don't take a participle of a sentence and then base my entire understanding of it on that. I look at historical documents. I look at the Articles of Federation that predated the Constitution. I've read the Do-Good letters. I've read the Federalist Papers. I've read the work of Monroe. I've read the Monroe Doctrine. I've studied about Louisiana. I am a purveyor of history, and everything that they say is, should it be absolutely unregulated, is I believe that if you think that free speech should absolutely never be regulated in any way, shape, or form, and you're a purist, then you have to say the same about the Second Amendment. However, if you have laws that are passed with the constituency of the state and are adopted at a 66% or 2/3 level, it then should be codified into federal law. So, if background checks deserve to be passed, it should not be a federal mandate. It should be decided by the states. And if 2/3 of the majority agree, then it should be codified into federal law. So yes, I do believe there needs to be limitations on certain things because we already have, but it's the most regulated amendment out of the 10 that we have.
Yes, it is.
There are over 44,000 individual laws that have either been passed or sitting in Congress right now with the word gun in it. Laws do not stop crime and do not stop shootings. The only thing that stops those things is another person with a gun, and that is every single mass shooting that's taken place. They've either been stopped by the assailant's gun or stopped by a police force. That is the truth. So I have no problem with people owning a semi-automatic rifle. I have no problem with people owning a 100-round mag. I have no problem with any of that. What I have a problem with is when you disarm the public and they cannot defend themselves. That is what I have an issue with.
Fair enough. Well said.
Okay.
Well fucking said.
Good. Then let's do
I'm just going to let it leave there, dude. I don't even want to argue anymore.
We're not arguing.
Thank you.
You know what? We didn't. Do you understand that we did not just debate? We just had a conversation.
Yeah, and I loved it.
Nobody does that anymore.
Really all I wanted out of it.
Everybody wants to fucking debate and get a 30-second
I
clip.
know.
I don't want to, like, people are like, dude, would you debate like Ben Shapiro? No, I would have a conversation with Ben with a glass of whiskey and a cigar, and we would talk.
Dude, there was this guy, and I won't leave, but there was this other conservative, like, call-in show stream that I found the other day, and I called on, you know, I was just like, hey, what's your opinion on some of these things? And he, like, instant debate. Like, it wasn't even a question. He just instantly started raising his voice, and I just couldn't believe it. So I'm not going to lie. I was kind of expecting the same thing out of you, but you are not that, and I seriously respect you, brother.
Well, I respect you too, Lawrence, and I wish you the best in your endeavors. I hope you become that history professor, and I hope you take some of the things we said today and try to bring some balance to an extremely liberal education system. There needs to be some conservative voices.
I do agree.
Well, I appreciate you, buddy. Good talk.
I'd probably be back on, and I'll talk a little bit more. I'll actually have, like, articulated points.
You should call back. Hey, for 21 years old, I think you got the forest through the trees soon. Just keep asking questions and keep being open-minded. That's the key to getting to where you want to be, Bubba. Okay?
Fair enough. I appreciate it, man.
Good talk. Bye. All right. Listen, that's happened a few times, and I would rather do that than anything that we do. Yeah, indeed, he's not bad, but he probably represents most Republicans who don't care what anyone else does in their bedroom. I don't give a crap. Listen, I'm not going to sit here and say that homosexual tendencies are not a part of prepubescent and pubescent growth. Of course it is. I mean, this has been cataloged by multiple clinical psychologists. From experiential learning. I've had homosexual tendencies before. Every person has. Everyone has had a dream. Everyone has seen somebody. Of course. Everyone's had a palpable reaction to seeing somebody nude for the first time, and even from the opposite sex. And it's either like, oh my God, or it's, you know, whatever. And some people don't have that. That's not the question. The question is that if we're mixing government and religion, that's where the separation of church and state needs to stop. Needs to continue. That is why separation of church and state continues, is that doctrine of government and nature cannot be designed around religious persecution of others. And homosexuality in the LGBTQ community is a religion, whether you believe it or not. It's a belief system. You believe with no scientific evidence that you have a predisposition for homosexuality. That's not what all homosexuals believe. Most homosexuals are fairly open-minded to say, yeah, I've always had a proclivity to be, more feminine or to be drawn towards men in a certain way. But I really didn't know I was gay until the first time I got in the backseat with a guy. Or, we fumbled through it. There's people who I know who are gay who tried it at 13 or 14 and then hated it and then didn't realize it until 23 or 24 that they weren't mentally available to experience those type of things. That tells me it's an experiential type experience, right? I can't believe I just fucking said that. I'm sorry. It's an experiential type of situation. And I think that influences a lot. So the things you go through when you're younger, the things that you experience, your friends, your influence group, your parents, all of these things have an impact. My point is Christianity doesn't stop you from being a homosexual. There was a time that the Christian beliefs and certain Christian denominations absolutely did that. But I don't see that in today's world. In fact, most of my listeners are fairly open to the homosexual community. They're just sick of the fucking parades, and they're sick of the commercials, and they're sick of the movie roles being switched. They're sick of having it forced down their throat, because we're not forcing it down your throat. I'm not trying to make you straight. And you're like, well, yes, but it's inherent in the system. That's because 92% of the country's straight. So therefore, 92% of the content more than likely is going to be about heterosexuality. But we're not the ones weaponizing words. You guys, you weaponize the cisgender thing now, and you guys call us cis, and it's with disrespect, and it's always the same adage. It's not that women wanted equality. They wanted the power. We're seeing this. We saw this with Obama. Obama got elected, and he was all about, I wanted the power, and now I'm going to impose my will. White people have been doing it for centuries. But it doesn't mean that it's right, because you get influenced to immediately usurp your power on other people of the things that you chastised against yesterday. And that's the problem with the homosexual community. They cast aspersions on Christianity. They lump us in with all Southern Baptists from Westboro. That's not the way it is. All white people are being lumped in with Nazis and the Ku Klux Klan when we're not the ones that founded the fucking Klan. We're not the ones with our ideologies that were more aligned with the Nazis. I mean, it was called the National Socialist Party. And I hate to say it, but the Democratic Party has moved so far left. It's really hard to muddy these lines between fascism and progressivism. So yes, although I do believe that there was a time and a place where homosexuality was chastised and there was derision towards it from the churches, I have seen many, many changes in the way from the Catholic Church that openly accepts homosexuality, and you have a pope that acknowledges it. You have a gay Department of Transportation in a high position. You have multiple people who are transgender in the government. You won. Accept it. Celebrate your win. You don't need to keep rubbing it in front of everyone's face. Just accept that it's taken black people 420 years to not even reach the point that you did in 30. I hate to say it, but homosexuals had it pretty easy to gain their equality. Christians are still fighting it in over 256 different places around the world. That's it. You're right. Gay and lesbians are not pushing. That's the thing. I don't have a problem with the lesbian, gay, bisexual community. I have a problem with the transgender and queer community and the QIA bullshit. It got hijacked. I'm with Mel. Mel crushed it. She's absolutely right. All right, folks, listen, I got to go. I enjoyed this, though. I really did. I miss these type of things. I love it when good people call in. I want to say I appreciate you, and I can't thank you enough. Liv, do we have any more? Hey, Liv, do we have any more? Okay. All right, folks. Listen, I know that's not everybody's cup of tea. Some people love that. Some people hate it. I know a couple people like, I'm out of here. Hey, Jonathan, why don't you call in real quick? You made a big donation and you deserve it. I got a few minutes. Call in 276-200-2105. I want to hear your thoughts. So I'll wait for your call. I love those, because listen, I get heated, but when it's a human being across from me, I'm going to treat them with the utmost respect. I thought it was my troll that I've had who was going to hit me on my jeans. When he asked about skinny jeans, I was like, okay, here it comes. Christian's Lifebook says, great watch, my second time tuning in. Good. And some nights will disappoint you. Don't leave us. That's what Don't Unfriend Me is all about, right? Jonathan. Yes, Whiten, call. Sure, call. I want to get your call in. I told you could call. Jonathan, do you want to wait till tomorrow? We got a Friday show. Love to have you come on. We'll save some time for you. You can be our first caller. Folks, once again, thedumbshow.com/donate. If you haven't had a chance, please maybe end the night with a donation. Just say thanks. We really appreciate your call. Appreciate the show, appreciate the content. Remember, Documents of Freedom. If you like the conversation tonight, it's all here. There's no secret to this. The Documents of Freedom has the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, and the Declaration of Independence. And everything we talked about is right here in these books. And the reason why we care so much about it is because we constantly evolve our thought process around the Founding Fathers' documents. We believe in the Constitution. It is our Bible on the mortal coil. And then the Bible for our soul is something different. But this is for us here on Terra Firma. Jonathan says he's calling. Waiting for that phone to ring. I like that kid. He's a smart kid. He's got a lot of potential. I think he's a conservative. I think he's disenfranchised. I think college probably screwed him up a little bit. And that's okay. It screws everybody up. Screwed me up. They tried to turn me into a Democrat. That did not go over well. Yeah, I think he's looking for answers. And I think when you surround yourself with people in the homosexual community, they have some reasons to be upset. I condemned Christians for the way they treated gays and lesbians for a long time. I just don't think that's as pervasive as it used to be. And I think there's an open acceptance that wasn't there. Jonathan, is it not working? Hold on. It says you haven't called. 276-200-2105. Try it one more time. And like I said, if you want to do this tomorrow, Olivia would probably love to have you call. So, but I'm totally fine. It's awesome. I'm feeling calls like that will hold on. That will hold me for a week. 276-200-2105. See, I was feeling a little tired, run down. Not now. I love calls like that. I could do those all damn day. 276-200-2105, man. And if you want to do it tomorrow, we can do it tomorrow, or you can call in right now. I'm waiting for you. And we've still got 100 and something on, so. Bobby, thank you for getting us to gold. That's a huge donation. Once again, if anyone else, we love to overdrive. We usually do the bare minimum on donations that pays for the feed and gives us a little extra on the side. We're not rich people, and we certainly don't shell in a huge amount of money from donations that unless we overdrive. So we appreciate overdriving. It helps us. We are over by $6, and that's awesome. If people also appreciated the show, maybe throw in a few dollars and see if we can get a couple more while Jonathan is trying to figure out how to use a phone. I got 2 more minutes in me before I need to go and go watch some baseball. I think the Yankees lost the Stros last night. That was a hell of a game. 276-200-2105. 276-200-2105. Wow, we weren't carried by Twitter tonight. We actually had some decent interactions on Twitch. And Facebook was super slow tonight, too. Weird. 276-200-2105. I know our first reaction is when people call in is to immediately just hate on them. If we don't take the time to get to know people and have them like us, conversations like that can't happen. And you can't change anybody's mind if they don't like you. And I'm a dick. I'm aware. My first interaction is I'm very standoffish with people. And I was with him. And he even called me out. I'm like, no, dude, I'm just matter of fact. Go. But once I started listening to him, I'm like, this guy and I can relate to each other. We can have a conversation. And once you establish that somebody's sincere, then it gives you an opportunity to like them. And that's where I'm at my best. I have no problem telling someone how I feel. I'll correct him when he's wrong. I don't think he understood that Christians are the most persecuted people on the planet. I don't think he knew that. And now he gets to go learn that. And he goes, okay, well, now I understand why Christians are a little touchy when people start condemning them and labeling them. It's just like the Jews. Jews don't like it either because Jews are the second most persecuted. So Christians and Jews don't like to be pigeonholed with their religion, and they certainly don't like people castigating aspersions on them based on it. Games of fight tonight? What's the score? Paul says, Matt moved, so I know we're still live. There, I moved. It's been a long day. All right, Jonathan, we're going to do this tomorrow. 276-200-2105. Let's do a call. Armenians are rank up there? Yeah. I mean, the Bolshevik Revolution leading into World War II, a lot of that was government. It was their own people who did it, but it's fair enough. Yeah.
we'll do this call tomorrow. It's Friday. It's Red Friday. Get your red on. I wore red today. I don't know why. But we'll see each other tomorrow. If I could do this, I would do it. This is what I would do. 4-3 Yanks. All right. Who's closing? Tell me we've got a couple innings left. Tell me top of the order is coming around. Anyway, if I could do this and only this and literally just do a talk show where people called in, this is what I would do. Like, I love that Justin Barclay has a radio show. Like, I would love to be picked up by a radio show. Like, we do really well on iHeart, but have an actual satellite radio show. Because I would do phone calls all day. Like, I would be on for 4 hours. I would do a Hannity type show. Because people are cool. And we don't do it enough. We don't talk enough. We don't have conversations enough. It's just talking points and bullshit. Anyway, I'm going to go. I love you guys. Appreciate you guys. Thank you for having us hit our goal. Let's have a big Friday tomorrow. We want to have a kick-ass Friday, a good Black Friday. I want you all to be safe. Take care of each other. Please like, share before you leave. Clean up. Do your duty. Your duty is just to hit a like or a follow or share this. Go to the Don't Unfriend Me page at thedumbshow.com and hit some likes. Go over to the Twitter page, hit like, hit YouTube, hit Rumble, hit all of our social media, and just say, hey, I'm going to go over there. I'm going to like a bunch of stuff. That helps us more than you know. I want to say how much I appreciate you. And at the end is the scroll. We will have, on the weekend, I'm going to add James Cody. I'll make sure that our caller tomorrow gets on there, who is going to be Jonathan. He needs to be added to the scroll. But at the end of this, you'll see everybody's name who's donated. God bless. Thank you, guys. And we'll talk to you tomorrow. Good night.
Adjusting transmitter output.
This is the Don't Unfriend Me Show with your hosts, Matt, Leroy, Amy, and Olivia. Geopolitics, military analysis, and election coverage. Coming to you live on all major social media channels at The Dumb Show. Honest, direct, unfiltered. We can agree, we can disagree. Just don't unfriend me.